practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden messages.
A special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimilla, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to another edition of the Adam Dunn Show. I am your host, Adam Dunn, and I got my man in the studio back.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. MTI.
What's happening?
And we've got coming into the studio, I've got Cole from New Millennium just rolling in, which I have to say, he wouldn't be coming in normally, but somehow this Google Doc got leaked. Right? And so when the Google Doc got leaked, there was like, we were 2:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning, sitting around making up like, yeah, and then we'll have him, and then we'll have him, and
that's funny.
And then we don't even know where that Google Doc. Only you, so we know where the leaker's at. So
oh yeah.
If I was the president, life would be good. First of all, let me tell you right now. Believe me, it would be great. But on top of that, I would know who the leaker is right now. I'd be like, MTI.
Yup. That's me.
So anyway. Apparently, there was some guest called Salen, which I have no idea what that even means.
No, I didn't. No.
It was very weird. It was a weird one. It was one of those, like, I looked at this thing and said, who the fuck is Salen?
Right.
And I don't think New Millennium's coming on the show, because they were just at a show. And but I just told Cole to come down anyway. And they had some gifts for me, too, so I said,
perfect.
Come on through. Bring gifts.
Yeah.
Bring something to smoke, obviously, and come hang out. And then I got Rev P is going to be in the studio later too, and Rev P is representing Trog, the artist known as Trog.
Oh, okay.
Look him up, artist Trog, not Trog the movie. And Trog is out of Australia. And he does all that really killer, very kind of like Big Daddy Roth style, where it's like the big, the eyeballs popping out of heads and monsterish and kind of like that vibe. But he has his own style, obviously. But he just created this coloring book, which is crushing it right now.
Ah, okay.
And he's going to do a show at some place called SOI. I don't know where it's at.
Nice. Now, if you guys want to check it out, www.facebook.com/artoftrog, Trog.
Cool shit. And he's always, literally he's been doing this forever. Well, not forever, but for a while now. And once you see it, you're like, oh, that's Trog. We know Yep, Trog, for sure. And he's definitely
that's dope.
It's very much like Freak Brothers modern sort of vibe. You know what I mean? It's like
totally.
It's exactly like that. I'm drinking some Dandelion and Burdock, dude. I'm going out. I'm going on a limb now. I'm getting crazy. It's pretty good, actually.
Never even heard of that. That's cool.
It's tasty. Looks like beer. Does not taste anything like beer.
Perfect.
But psychologically, I'm still there. And we got calling in Mosca from Mosca Seeds. We're going to have, I say Mosca, but we'll have him call in and give us the officials. And we're going to talk about some new drops from him. He's got some new Femmed stuff. And then, of course, the 420 James Bean man on the scene, as usual.
Nice.
And he will bring in Mosca, I believe. So he will probably bring him in on a three-way and then,
got it.
Get back to work, I hope. Or just hang in there and just, mumble stuff like he usually does.
Right.
That's all right. It's fine. So, did you see that news thing about they figured out that stoners walk differently? Did you see that thing?
No, I didn't see that yet.
I forgot who posted it. Somebody posted it. I think it was either Steven or some. I think it was. And he basically posted this thing, and it was really weird. It was like we swing our arm. We don't move our shoulders as much, but we swing our arms or something. I don't know. I was like, I have to really think about that one. That was
weird.
Did you see it?
No, I can't find it.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, it was a weird. I was expecting something a little more. It was like, yep, stoners walk differently. Strange, right? But I'm gonna start looking at it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start looking at it.
If I find it, I'll let you know.
It's on. Yeah, it's definitely on the Adam Dunn Show's
okay.
Facebook page, I believe. So we should actually have it right in front of us, but whatever. Oh, here you go. You got to go through all this. Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it.
Actually, let me see. I might just be able to pop that up too. What else? Oh, there was another crazy, some other news stuff. Let's see. No. Yep. Here it is. Boom. So, independent in UK, cannabis smokers walk differently, right? So it's on our site. I mean, for anybody who listens to the show has already read this thing because it's on our fucking page. But
Right.
it appears to subtly change the way people walk. New studies claimed. And so they tend to move their shoulders less, but their elbows more as they walk. I don't know. Have you noticed? It's kind of a weird one, right? They have to put those little computer things all over you and have you walk around and
Right.
analyze all that shit to really.
They have to put some stoners in video games like they do the NFL people. Put all the balls all over. They'll wear that suit of balls or whatever so that they can track their movement.
Problem is here though. The differences uncovered were small, and were observed in people who smoked a light or moderate amount. So really, that doesn't even say anything. Then at that point, it means that those people are awkward because they don't smoke enough. They should be smoking more, and then they just be normal again, right? I mean, that's all it seems like. It seems like people who would be, if it's people who are lightly smoking, and is it when they're high or is it when they're all the time? Like, does it change the way you walk? Because I don't think I walk differently when I'm stoned. Do you?
No.
Have you ever noticed that?
No, I've never really. I mean, I've been paying attention to my posture a lot lately because I met with a massage therapist that's like helping me fix a lot of that. But
Sucks when you hang out with people that are like, doop, 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 and you're like, oh,
I know, yeah,
because you're just so used to your own little
right,
sagging into yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Fuck it. No, it is one of those things. Well, I now that I got my kid, of course, I'm watching him and his posture. Like when he's feeling, he uses his posture as a sort of way to tell you how he's feeling. Like, so if he's sad, he goes straight to like the head bent over, bad posture look. So it sucks because it's like you'll know it's not like he's got bad posture. It's like he's literally just, telling you,
right,
I'm pissed off and I'm sad. Because normally it's pretty good.
Right.
But yeah. Something to think about. It's good when you actually understand that early enough to make it work, because if you wait until you're actually fucked and then you start thinking about it, it's so hard to go backwards. Like, oh yeah, now I'm going to fix my thing I've been doing wrong for 45 years or something. You know what I mean? It's like, that's really pretty hard to do.
Yep.
But you can. I mean,
Fighting gravity.
But I hate when people overdo it. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like when they're like, you're like, all right, I understand. You got great posture. Like, do you really need to show me like that? Like, it's just it's too straight.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, there can be.
Their chakras are way too open, bro.
For sure.
It's like, come on now, close a couple. At least, tighten it up. So that was one. And what was the other? There was something else. So I don't believe it, but whatever. I think to be honest, that's all I think it is. I think it's they picked out a bunch of lame people who don't smoke enough weed, told them to smoke weed, and watched them walk, and they were really awkward.
Right.
Wouldn't that be? I mean, come on.
Sounds about right to me.
Because it makes it sound like if you smoke weed, then you do this. It's like, no, that's not really. That is not. Yeah,
we should see some. Maybe we should do a extensive Adam Dunn show study on it.
That's it. Well, my studies would have zero scientific backing at all. That's the point. I mean, I might have some guy who's more scientific than me, but when it came down to the fucking nuts and bolts, it'd be like, this is completely unscientific, but realistic at the same time. And usually, I wouldn't say we'd always be right, but we'd probably be right, just because a lot of the shit is very predictable, So, let's see. Am I on? Oh, yeah, I am on. Dude, look, I'm live. I can't believe it.
Live.
I know it's not great, but the picture should be slightly better because we found out there was a super hard technical problem going on, which was called clean the fucking lens once in a while. So we were like, whoa, look, it looks better. It was like, yeah. It's kind of like with your iPhone, when you're taking photos, and especially with weed photos. I'll be taking photos. Like, God, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, how come it's so bad? And then you go to clean your lens, and you're like, bing, the shit's like HD perfect again.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, that. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you see a slight improvement, I wouldn't say a big one, because now that I look at it, it looks shitty again too. So one day, you don't actually. The thing is, people will appreciate shitty lenses soon because they're so good now.
Oh yeah.
And who the fuck wants to see all the details anyway? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one really needs to see me any better than they see me at this point, because
Sure.
I'm just better blurry, a little blurry on the edges.
Some things are not meant for HD.
No, exactly. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, well, what other? Got that scandalous thing going on with Richard Stone or whatever his name is at that conference coming up in L.A. I'm supposed to speak at it too. That's really funny. So
really?
Everyone's backing out, and I'm like, oh great, that's gonna be fun. We'll see. We'll probably end up backing out too, but
Yeah.
That's one of those. You know the guy.
Not exactly. No.
He's he was an advisor to Nixon and Reagan and all the Republicans all the way down the line, pretty much. But he's like a real showboaty kind of idiot. He's got like a tattoo of Nixon on his back. It's like,
Really?
He's just he has a Nixon bong too, so he's a smoker.
What the
Right?
fuck?
But that's his whole thing. Is he says he's a smoker. He's like he's an advocate and he's for legalization and he wants to bring it. But I don't like.
Wow.
But he created Trump. Like he's the guy who literally said, "Hey, you know what? You should probably run."
Oh, wow.
And Trump was like, "Nah, nobody's gonna like me. Nah, I'm just happy doing it." He's like, "No, we could groom you," and he kind of groomed him for the position and then nailed it, and
Wow.
created it. So anyway, he's a speaker at this thing, so it's gonna be.
That's crazy.
It's gonna be no matter what, it's gonna be scandalous. I'm surprised they just didn't get rid of the guy though and just be like, you know what, it's not really worth all this hassle. But in the end, they kept him on. I guess they'd have to pay him anyway, and he's probably a stickler. Like he's probably one of those guys like, you're giving me the $20,000 no matter what.
Right.
Damn, all right, well, fuck it, you're speaking, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, we can't pay the 20 and not have him speak. I don't know, it's gonna be weird.
Yep.
So, any other Canna swag? There was something, there was another article that came out, and now I can't, of course, I'm not very savvy at trying to look up shit and talk, because then it turns into this worse than it is now.
Let's see what we can dig
Which is
up.
hard to do, but, might as well try.
Wow.
What do you got? Nothing.
Oh, nothing.
Nothing. We got nothing. It's good to see a lot of good. I mean, I see some serious crops going in this year finally with some quality looking CBD plants I see going on everywhere. Like everywhere. This is going to be an interesting year with the whole CBD.
Right.
I mean, I'm predicting crash in the prices is going to go nuts. Because right now it's been dropped by half in the last year, maybe.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it's like it was 20, and now it's 10, and then it goes. It just kind of moves steadily downhill, and then it's 7.5, and then it's 6, and it's 5. Soon it'll be 3. It's just like ding, 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 boom, down to and it'll be. But it's just also, if you can keep up, it's still worth it because at the end of the day, it's still worth more than most other things, and you feel good doing it. You know what I mean? It's like one of those, so there'll always be somebody doing it. It's not
Right.
like no one's going to give up, even though the price. But a lot of people will. I mean, a lot of people have to. They're just going to figure out, like, holy shit, you think someone, oh man, look at all these other people. I didn't realize they were doing it. It's
Right.
Like, yeah, they are. Like so many other people doing it. So, but it's also going to come down to quality, and it's going to come down to the strain selection from the beginning. That's and that's where I think a lot of people also fucked up, because there's a lot of people who just took it, took someone else's work, and that's just went by the numbers, because it's all a number game, and they're turning it into distillate anyway, so they don't really care. But it's kind of weird how shit kind of carries all the way through. Like if it's good product, it doesn't matter if it's turned into isolate, distillate, oil, any kind of extract along the way. It's always good.
Right.
Take something that's really bad, you might be able to fake it, you know what I mean? Like everybody's like, well, it's so clean, it's like 99, well, yeah, sure, but it's still derived from shitty material, you know what I mean? So there's always that, so there's always going to be that, but it's going to be harder and harder to convey that to that final person, because that final person is going to be always thinking like price, that's just it, like how much?
Yeah.
So hopefully, there'll be the organic will, again, as we always harp on, will win somehow and get in there.
Speaking of strain selection, did you hear about Netflix putting out 10 different weed strains named after some of their shows and stuff? And
I did. Did they talk about the names yet? Or
yeah, let's see.
oh, yeah, I saw that, like Yeah.
And the strains were given special names based on shows like Banana Stand Kush, named after the Bluth family restaurant in Arrested Development. Prickly Muffin, named after the first season episode of BoJack Horseman. And Posey Write It, which is in honor of Orange is the New Black. So, yeah. But, yeah, I guess they're going to be released somewhere in Hollywood. There's a store, West Hollywood Alternative Herbal Health Services Dispensary is going to be releasing these limited 10 strains. So,
yeah, I did hear that, actually. I mean, that's so LA. It's like, it's so LA and so Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, right? Absolutely. It's just funny that... Well,
did you watch Disjointed yet? Obviously, then
I watched a little bit of it. We just kind of put it in the background, and it was just I heard a great description for it. It's a show about people who smoke weed by people who don't smoke weed for people who don't smoke weed.
There you go. That's a very very good description. Yeah, it was. It's funny, of course, to see certain things, and they definitely like. I love certain characters are kind of funny, like they're the stoner couple. The black guy and the chick, they're the best part of the show. Whenever they are, Dabs and what is it? You remember the names? You don't remember the names?
No, I don't remember any of their names. No,
exactly. Dabs and something, and then they have their own YouTube channel, and that's just hilarious. Yeah. That part to me is hilarious.
Right, because it's always messed up. It always like,
and they're just ridiculous. And those characters are actually kind of funny, And then it is funny to see. Like there's definitely bits and pieces of every little stoner that we know. They did a decent job of making up a fucking staff that looks pretty typical, like let's say. But then of course, as usual, they always kind of like cheesed it up a little bit too hard. And then, but the dispensary looked actually pretty authentic. Like I was like, that's pretty good. They did a good set design. You know what I mean? Like set design was pretty on point.
I thought it was pretty funny how people could smoke in there too. Like,
well, that's Cali though. You can still do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's still.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what's so.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, there's places still that don't, they actually let you do it. There's some, most of them not legally, but there is some. But yeah, it's a little bit like classic where they all smoke on the roof, they smoke everywhere. It's like,
right.
Yeah, we don't, most run places, most smartly run places aren't letting people smoke anywhere. Obviously, they can't. But even if they could on the premises, they wouldn't let you smoke on the roof. Just whatever. Mm-hmm. If there's some valor to it, but at the same time, I think it is definitely like I went through them pretty quick. Just had them in the same deal. But like at a certain point, I wasn't paying attention. I was on my computer, and I was like, oh, that was kind of funny. There was a few.
Those animated scenes are kind of crazy.
The animated scenes are cool, but they're totally ridiculous too. It's right. It's like one of those like, I wish I had weed that made monsters eat me and
me
fucking
too.
I'd be like, it's like bigger than a DMT trip. I was like, that guy's fucking going off.
Right.
The black guy, right?
Yeah.
It's always the black guy, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. I think because I think it's like
he's got a PTSD.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so he goes into a little trip every time. Well, those are actually, but that animation is really cool.
Totally.
And the commercials are dope.
Yeah, those are pretty funny.
That's actually the best part. It's like every time the commercials come on, I was like, that's pretty funny. And a couple of them, I'm like, damn, somebody's going to do that. You know what I mean? Like the shaving cream. I was like,
oh, yeah.
Someone's on that already. Someone's like, shaving cream, we can do that. You know what I mean? Of course. Because why not? Fucking throw it in there.
That's funny.
So there is some. And the lawyer was actually a good one. Did you see the lawyer if your pizza's late by 45 minutes?
No.
Like, your pizza's late by 45, give me a call. And it was like that. That was actually a good one. I thought that was pretty fun.
That's funny.
Anyway, disjointed, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it, I guess.
Yeah.
We're not saying it's good. We're just saying watch it.
It's all laugh tracky.
Very laugh tracky. That's the weird part. It's like, wow, that's the funny part. The first episode, I was just like, this is weird to be watching a weed show with a laugh track and know that it's just like it's got to that point. You're like, fuck, really? It has gotten to that point. Let's do quick shout outs, I guess. That way when I think Cole's going to be here, he said between 3:30 and 4 anyway, so we will do our little commercials.
Cool.
I've been listening to so much other podcasts lately and listening to all the reads and stuff, and it's always so funny because it's all written out and really, they're forced to, and you're like,
totally. Yeah.
One day we're going to be forced to read stuff, but until that time, we're just going to make up shit and make it sound good. But at the same time, straight from the heart,
Right.
as you know.
Totally.
New Millennium, just like that. We've been using it now like 3 years, I said, me and my mom, and everybody at our spot. And it's fucking rock solid formula, and it's been even getting better just recently because, like everything, you tweak it along the way and adjust. They have a real simple sort of formula as far as the timing, where you got the seasons are in effect. So starting in the spring and working your way into the summer, going into the fall and the winter, boom, you get, you're in control. And also just for flavor enhancement and just kind of got everything dialed up just because, like I said, the guys who are behind it are seasoned professionals and they have been doing this for a long time. And this is kind of their answer to commercial home, from anywhere from home to commercial. And by commercial, we mean large scale commercial, obviously, and keeps it simple. Never more than like four items at one time usually. So there's like a 9-piece. It's like a 9-piece total, but 4 at one given time. So it's very precise and also super economical too, which is great. Because it's one of those things. At the end of the day, you start to figure it out because you're like, okay, I spent this much and I got that much. It's like that simple, And it definitely pays for itself in that department, which is awesome. And just in the getting a reputation for flavors and things like that. What's that?
Now the chat gang's talking smack, saying that we probably actually liked that show with how much we talked about it.
That's
hilarious.
It was funny for a second here and there, but it was definitely not a very good representation of Star. It's a classic. It's a classic.
Right.
We're all lazy and stupid and whatever. That's as usual.
Yeah. Anyways, newmillenniumnutrients.com.
Yeah, newmillenniumnutrients.com if you want to check out the locations and also just find out about this product and get it. And if you're a listener and you're really interested, just drop us a line because we are passing your info on to them, and they are definitely going to get you guys some samples to try. So. New Millennium Nutrients. And they're going to give some more stuff away. I bet when he gets here, he's going to be having a list. Maybe not, though, because he didn't really plan on it, so we don't know. But I know in the future, he's definitely going to, when they have some new products, they're ready for some big drops. And our guys over at Build a Soil. I'll talk to Jeremy after the show. It looks like we'll get him back on soon, too, because we have lots more to talk about. But yeah, if you haven't, if you're just a new listener, listen only, was it last week or week before? What was it last week?
It was last week.
Last week? See, that's how long ago. Was it last week or last month? I think it was last week. It was last week. We had Jeremy on the show, and but if you go back into the archives, you will find a ton of Build a Soil shows because we've had Jeremy on breaking it down for everybody, which he loves to do. And the last show was more of just kind of update and see what he's up to. But you can also just give him a shout at buildasoil.com and check out the website and message that way, and or call him at
855-877-SOIL.
I need a drink. Incredibles edibles, best edibles here in Colorado, now in Nevada, California. They are the most consistent and best in-house grown top to bottom product out there. And in general, if you really just want to have consistent, flavorful, and also ever expanding menu of great edibles, contact iloveincredibles.com, and you can also get a store finder there, and you can check out where they are located and see if they are near you. And if they're not, what the hell? Well, probably you're in a state that they can't be. But they have a black label in-house, which is also guaranteed, super high quality because it's coming from their gardens. And they have also their yellow gold label, which is in-house stuff from the place that you are standing in at that exact moment in time.
I love that orange soda oil that they come out with.
I know. That's just sold out before it even starts, right?
Yeah.
So check out their website and give them a shout. They are the bomb. For sure.
iloveincredibles.com.
That's it. And of course, seeds here now. The gold standard of genetics. the best place to pick up genetics here in America. And you can hit them up at seedsherenow.com to see all the greatest specials. I think he's doing a crazy $98 special on everything right now. It doesn't matter what it was. If it was $200, it's $98. If it was $500, it's $98. He's going nuts. So you should definitely check out that right now if you're interested in picking up some stuff. I think, I think it's like literally like the dollar store, but it's a $98 store. So you got to like have a few more dollars on you when you go there. But in the seed world, that can be a super bonus. And, like always, the best service, the best return policy. If you have any issues, you give them a call. They'll, hit you, hook you up with some new genetics, of course, and let you try again. Because usually, I'm not going to say it's your fault, but I'm telling you, it's your fault. No, it's not. There's sometimes, it's fucking luck of the draw. It's seeds. When you sell seeds, you're, selling. When I used to work for Census Seeds back in the day, and people would come in and say that something didn't sprout, and they would be like, "Yes, that's why we gave you, extra 2 seeds in the pack." And they're like, yeah, they were, because they always would overpack them. Like you'd say 10, there'd be 12, sometimes, and they do that a lot of times in the beginning. And if not, they'd just be like, "Yeah, it's living material. What can I do?" And then they'd be like, "Wow, come on, you give them some seeds." And they were super tight. I mean, they were Dutch, and the Dutch are like tight as shit. Right. So they were like, maybe all right, and we like struggle to give them a pack, and that's not the way it should be. It should be like, hey, you bought something, you're not happy with it, boom, we give you a new pack. Having said that, don't be an asshole about it, right? Because we don't need that. Like,
Absolutely
dude, not. I just grew them all out, totally flowered great, and I just need some more new ones because I don't really like it, like that kind of shit. Nah, come on now. But even if then, I think he would still hook you up. But in general, seedsherenow.com is your one-stop shop. But you can also go to Seedaholics and .com and check out there. You can go first to Seeds Here Now and just jump on right over to it. I'm sure there's a little link there.
Yep, it's under auctions.
Bam, auctions. Hit that link, and then you are over at Seedaholics. Mm-hmm. And at Seedaholics, you can get crazy deals and crazy like one-offs and last packs and lost packs and kind of just all those things. You were like, what? I didn't think that was gone. And it's like, yeah, we found 10 packs that were, never fucking sent out in a box that we didn't realize, because that's what happens, crazy shit.
Yep.
Or just, cleaning out your drawers and you're like, whoa, holy shit, found one of those. So you can find some crazy one-offs, like I said, and bid on them. And also, later on when we have Mosca on, he is going to be having a big drop, I believe, right now with them, a bunch of new femme stuff that apparently is crushing it. Sounds like we got a Cole in the house, I think. Could be. Sounds like a Cole, could be a Rev. We'll see. It's a Cole. It is a Cole.
How's it going?
Good. Sit here, wherever you want. You can switch it up. Were you there last time?
I think I was there last time.
Yeah, so why don't you switch it up? See which side. We will know which side is your better side by the end of the show.
It's a few dudes.
Good, man. Good to see you, man.
We'll be like, Cole needs to sit on that side, because now we realize that this side he looks really terrible. No, we don't know.
Experience last time. Ended up this time.
We don't know. So, welcome to the show, Cole. You weren't even like I said. It was just like you're lucky. You're lucky that some of the people are so they want to know so bad who's going to be on the show that they've gone through detective mode and actually got him to share Google Docs that me and James Bean never even finished. We just sort of started one day at 3 a.m. in a hotel room, like after a trade show, and like, oh yeah, you should start figuring out your next photo. And we started. I think this was like where we ended, maybe somewhere.
Okay.
So we actually never contacted you guys, and then I was like, oh man, they're at the trade show. They're probably not going to even be ready. But any Friday when you have an offering to go out of the office, you might want to pick that offering up if you had to work. Were you working?
I was working, man. It was a little bit of a catch-up morning, of course, from being gone for a few days. But like I said, man, getting out of the office to come do the show with you, that's a no-brainer.
There you go. That was a good. See, it's always a good excuse where you're like, yeah, I'll do that. Here, let's take this bag away since it's Safeway's not paying me shit, so we'll just put it here.
I like your style, man. I like your style.
Fuck Safeway. It's like, whoa, what's in that bag? That's all the people are gonna start asking. What's in the bag? What's in the bag? What's in the bag? What's in the bag? You can always pull out what's in the bag, but. So, what show we were at? Oh yeah, this is the show I'm really interested in actually because it's got nothing to do with what we normally go to, right? Wasn't it like some weird garden or somehow a pet show and garden show or something like that?
Yeah, it was. We were kind of out there checking out the home and garden pet show, and it was good, man. We weren't directly displaying any of our 5A topics or our brands that we kind of mainly push, but we were out there getting education a little bit, hanging out with some coworkers and a few of the bosses, and just kind of checking out Vegas for a few days, and just as much as anything, kind of seeing what other people are having to offer, what's new, what's good, what's different. Just trying to stay relevant and up to date,
So when you say garden, you don't mean like it's really like very, very garden. It's you're talking about more home garden stuff. Mostly.
Yeah, great question actually. So there were quite a few just actual garden companies that we don't really see a whole lot of. Even some really abstract stuff like lawn gnomes and other stuff that really has nothing with our industry.
Well, that's what I would expect. I would expect mostly lawn gnomes and hardly any industry people at a garden,
Right.
at a garden and pet. That would be like, whoa, there is actually, look, here's fucking General Hydro, and then you guys are over there. And it was General there? Was all those bigger companies there too? Or
No, not really,
no?
man. They were pretty.
So Hawthorne Group did not come through with a fucking thing at the actual garden thing.
This was not their show, man.
Wow.
This was not their show.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. You'd think that they would be like that'd be their shit, like because it'd be like more fringe-ish and kind of like the half step over and not the full step and not at the like whoa we smoke weed show. It's more like the oh that was the other thing. Bam! Now I remember the news. Comes back to me. Was that fucking Vegas is now going to ban all cannabis? Wants to ban all cannabis conventions now? Did you hear that?
Wow, really?
No, that'd be
That's
crazy.
like, well, they were just like, this is no. Yeah, they were like really pissed off about it, and like, they were like saying anything that was cannabis related, they're trying to ban them from the casinos. It's like, because it's not federally fucking mandated yet. It's like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, it seems a little strange. I mean, I can see where they're coming from, I guess, as far as the laws and everything else, but with the
But you're
recent,
Vegas. You do what you want.
recent change in laws there, of course. I mean, it was kind of a trip, man. I've been to Vegas for a little bit, and there's people smoking weed everywhere there right now, man. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, they're just pissed off. And that's the funny part is like, T-shirt that I saw that I loved was, if you don't smoke cannabis, you're not going to like the future, and it was just such a poignant, perfect kind of thing because it's really true. Like, if you hate weed, like if you just hate it, I hate weed, it's like, wow, you got to I hope you die soon because it's going to get really hairy for you. Like, it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
No, it's going to be a hard time for the people that are, again, not that we care if you're not a cannabis consumer, that's not the issue, but if you're, like you're saying, really
If you're a
against
hater,
cannabis.
If you're a hater,
Yeah,
if you're a hater,
exactly.
which
man.
there are plenty of. I mean, we know that. There's
Plenty.
And that's the hard part is like, okay, when it's alcohol, it's like, maybe, yes, sometimes it's the smell, but it's not usually, but it can be combination of the fact that everyone's just fucking messed, you know what I mean? That's usually like, yeah, the smell, but if it gets to that point, it's like ridiculous. With cannabis, it could be like two kids, smoking a joint in a tree fort, and it could be enough. That's, you know what I mean? And everyone would be like, what's that smell? What the fuck's going on? People freak out because everyone thinks they're a detective, and everyone thinks that they're like, oh, look, I've solved a crime, you know what I mean? You're like, yeah, you smelled weed, big fucking deal. Like, relax, everybody. You're
Good
not,
job,
you're
Sherlock.
not, exactly.
You're right on, right?
Whoa, I smell, and that's the first thing, like, you notice if you light up a joint or just smoke a bowl or anything, the first guy who, like, mouths it, you can see him, someone smoking weed. I can see it from like across the
that
street.
smell?
Like, I always
What's
get
the smell?
I always get that guy, and it's usually because he wants to smoke weed. It's 90, I'd say almost, or it's the douchebag. It's like either the super douche or it's the guy who wants to smoke weed. It's hardly ever just the random like old lady and oh my god, that smell is so bad. They don't really notice it. It's just the people who are uber detective,
Or they want some weed.
uber detective
Yeah,
douchebag, or they're like, yeah, like I told the story I think at one point, but there was a guy I know I met in Amsterdam who was counting money on a coffee shop table, and he was just counting stacks of cash. This was when I first got there almost, and I was like, what the hell? This guy had dreadlocks and was like, just had stacks of cash and was, and I was like, well, I'm going to sit next to this guy. This guy looks interesting, and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? And he was like, oh, just came back from Hawaii, and I'm like, oh wow, and he was like he went from India to somewhere. Then he was coming back, and he was coming back into it. Like, anyway, he's just like flying around with hash, with money. I was just like, how the fuck do you do like? This guy's crazy, and he said that he smokes a joint on every single flight. This is like in 1990. This is back in 1989, maybe, or 88.
Wow. And he's smoking weed on the airplane?
He smoked joint.
Damn.
He was smoking a joint, not like a bowl or a vaporizer. This is a fucking 19. He said he would smoke a joint, and he said he's been arrested in every single city in the world, pretty much, right? He would, like, get arrested coming off the plane sometime. But I was like, how the fuck do you do that and smoke? It was weird. It was just the weirdest. It was like, I don't know, this guy, like, just was so... And it was also pre-9/11, so you could literally, like, figure out smart ways to do shit back then.
Right,
Nobody was searching you, and you could kind of just, like, get on with cash and stuff as long as you know, and they didn't really have metal detectors that were smart enough to detect.
Of course.
The stripes that weren't even in the bills yet. You know what I mean? It was like we were still in the fucking dark ages. And then this guy tucks, if you tuck that underneath the corner of that or something like that, and then it kind of
hold it. Thank you.
Then it doesn't give you a fucking tug, right?
Yeah.
But no, in general, it was just the weirdest thing. But the fact that he actually smoked a joint on planes back then, I was just like, dude, you're nuts. You know what I mean? And he literally just didn't give a fuck, you know? And I don't know why I even told that story, but it was something. There was a reason.
It's badass either way, man. Like, you know, taking...
It's the way it should be. You should be able to smoke fatties on it. But that was before, also, like, you got to imagine, like, you used to be able to smoke tobacco on planes, and that was weird. Like, I think about that as when I was a kid, and I'd get on a plane, and people just start puffing like crazy. And, like, now, the thought...
Sounds terrible.
It sounds terrible, but it's also, like, everyone's so brainwashed now that it's, like, it seems like a safety hat. Like, people would have a fucking conniption. Like, they would,
absolutely.
like, their asthma would kick in from across the room. Their kid would, like, people would have, like, we're conditioned so hard now, it's ridiculous. Like, we've been beat down, like, literally, if you travel a lot, you've been beat down so hard that there's just nothing to do but to pay all them fucking easier ways to do everything and not deal with the fucking bullshit, because
You're very
they've created the most like all right, we're gonna create a fucking obstacle course of bullshit, and then if you can deal with it, but if not, you can just pay us a little bit more and we'll just let them. But you know, it was like, yeah.
No, that is crazy, man. You're out even growing up, like I said, back in Wyoming, just like a few of the country bars around here and stuff. It's like that was. I mean, you were not in a bar that wasn't just so clouded out you couldn't see for years and years and years. And then it was like the ones, when the law started passing and all these bars kept petitioning and keep the laws, grandfather us in, and shut up some bars went out of business because there was only like, people wanted to go smoking them. And it was like,
Right. Yep.
But no, man, not that same thing. We're all non-judgmental. If you smoke cigarettes, do your thing. We're not hating on it, but it is nice to not have every single place around just smell like a cigarette either. You know what I mean?
I used to be in a band for like 10 years, and when you used to be able to smoke in the venues, I'd go home and blow my nose, and it would just be like soot coming out of my nose. It was crazy.
Yep.
I don't miss that.
No, and I was actually talking about this the other day. In Amsterdam, around 2007, I think is when they banned tobacco in bars, right? So everywhere. It was just like, and that's like fucking... Are you kidding me? Like, they call them brown bars because people smoke so much tobacco in them that the fucking walls are brown, right, from the nicotine. It's like, that's literally how the place was sort of off-white at one point. Now it's fucking, like, dark, kind of, like, looks like a latte or something. You know what I mean? It's like, it's fucking caked. And so the Dutch all sit there and roll, shaggies, they call them. So it's like, oh, yeah, shaggy, roll, just keep smoking. And not gonna move from the table and go. These guys are in their 90s and shit. So it's like the transition was not quick. It took years, and people, even when I left in 2011, so like say 5 years after they enacted, or 4 years or whatever after they enacted it, it was like places still had like a thing on the table where everyone donated money, and if they ever got busted, break that out of here, take the money, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Because
that's kind of cool, at least, though.
And so it was like to get that culture to change, which they did. Everyone everywhere, and I was like everywhere. It was good. I mean, it's for health reasons. It's good, but it did kill like the vibe at like clubs and stuff. Because at first it was like you go there, everyone's smoking tobacco. So if you're smoking weed, you're the only guy making the place smell good. You know what I mean? Everyone else is fucking destroying the place, and you walked around and just like, fuck, everywhere I go it smells great, whatever, as long as I'm just keep puffing. So I just kind of like stayed in my own little cloud, and nobody cared. Then they say you can't smoke tobacco, and the crazy part was when I was there, the way that the law was written was you couldn't smoke tobacco. So they said at places that you could smoke weed for a little while, it was like, sure, because they were so used to people smoking anything, something, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they didn't care. So they're like, as long as it's pure weed. And they actually were like running around and checking people's and everyone there, nobody rolls pure. So it was like,
Right.
I was like, literally like me and a few other Americans that lived there were all, this is fucking awesome. Like the whole town is turned into our direction. And then it lasted like maybe a month. And then it was like, people were like, fuck that. And everyone just smoked tobacco. Everybody smoked tobacco. The guys who were checking all the things just gave up checking. So we're back to normal in a sense, but everybody was breaking the rules at that point. So we were sort of like, cruising around like everybody's speeding, It's like, we're all speeding, fuck it. If we're all speeding, it's good, right? That is cool. As long as that guy's doing 80, we can all do 80 because he's doing 80.
Right.
And that's kind of where it was with smoking. We're all like, well, they're all smoking, so we're smoking. But what's crazy is that Denver got its shit kicked out of it, and it broke early. Like we're the biggest pussies in the whole world because we have illegal weed and we don't have any cool places, and it's like nobody's taking a risk or wants to take any money into anything and be like, you know what, we should have like a shitload of places and just like fuck it, just do it, and who cares, because that's what it should be, because that's what the option they give you. But instead, we're like, we won't do it. Okay, like just nothing.
Do you think that if we would have opened clubs within the first year of legalization, that the feds would have like maybe came and stomped on it? You know what I mean? Like right away. Like if they saw people just being like blasé about everything, and just
sure. But now we're how many years later?
Yeah,
it's like, come on, all right, that's great. For the first year, we proved it. 2 years, proved it. 3 years, proved it. Like, okay, now,
right?
Maybe it's time that we're allowed to be like adults for just the fucking second of our life. Maybe like out of the day, a couple hours where we're allowed to go and hang out with people and be normal and not be all like, oh, dude, come to my house, bro. It's like we're like 14 again. Let's go hide up in our room because our kids can't see us smoke. And we're, what I mean? It's like, it's so stupid. Like, it's like, that's what you want to create. And then you're going to say, child endangerment, man, you're smoking around your kids. Like, what the fuck, dude? Are you going to give me no options? They're like, okay, so where should I go? Oh, I should go in my car. That's a good idea. Let's get my car super stinky so then you have a fucking reason to tear my shit apart, It's like,
that was the funniest to me, man, whether it was home situations or work between Wyoming and Colorado, man. You're just like, you're going to make me go drive around to smoke weed, huh? That's a really good idea, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's total bullshit, and it's like such an obvious, like, not thought out process. It's like, okay,
it's
guys,
truly not.
you're like, you have given like, and the crazy part is that nobody's filled, like the vacuum just stays there. It's just like an empty vacuum that just stays there. Nobody touches it because it's like it's untouchable at this point because there's no guidelines, so nobody wants to, do that. And then at the same time, when they did finally come up with some sort of guidelines, they were just ridiculous and like, oh, so you basically don't want anybody to make any money, but stay open some magic way, and if they do a membership, it changes this, and if you do that, you do. It was like, it was just all these dumb rules that didn't make sense. It was like, why not just do exactly what they said in the beginning and let every place that has a smoking area choose to let people smoke cannabis or not? That's all you have to do. That's it. And the rest of it's down to like because that's all it is. It's like, okay, oh, you have a smoking area? Cool. Okay, you can let people smoke there. Bam. How hard is that? Like, that was like, okay, that's not the worst thing. Now, of course, if you are right next to a school, some magic way, I don't know how you got that spot, but if you got that spot right next to a school or within like a certain, every single day, the whole place, just don't open during those hours and change your hours or whatever it is, and just sort of avoid the whole bullshit of it all. It's like, there's so many options of ways to work around it, which is a lot easier, but instead they made like so many rules. Like it had to be 1,000 feet, which is even more than if you were like anything else. It's like, okay, so bars, no problem, all these other things that are way more. Cigarette places, no problem. Kids don't smoke cigarettes. I've never seen that. You know what I mean? Like I drop my 5-year-old off, and there's kids smoking outside, and they're not 5 because it's a mixture between middle school, high school, and everything all in one. But there's like literally like, okay, when my kid's in 3rd or 4th grade, and he's fucking going there on his own or whatever, and he's like, the first thing he sees is 5 people out front smoking cigarettes. It's like, isn't that like probably the first exposure? You know what I mean? That's like the most obvious first thing.
For sure it is, man.
And if he's smart, he doesn't do it. You know what I mean? But never know. That's like so. But they don't give a shit. It's like whatever.
No, that's true.
Preaching to the choir over here.
What is this thing here, man? Is it a portable e-rig?
Yes, it is, sir. That is a
Tight.
torchless. That is a torchless nail. This is from our buddy James Bean. He reps them. It's not him himself, but he reps them.
I've never seen those, man. Those are cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll load it up for you so you can see.
I've never seen it like actually like strapped onto the bong. You know,
Strapped on. I like how you say that. That's
well,
scary.
it wasn't taped; it was strapped. So
It's
I was just being
stra-
specific.
I
here,
know
but-
it is a technical strap on. So basically, with this, it's got a button here, and then you just hit the button, and it will heat it up. And then what you do, because every time you hit the button, it goes for like about 8 seconds or something like that, and then it'll turn off. So you hit it, wait a second or two, hit it again to kind of feather
it. Yeah.
That's it. It's all about the feathering technique. See, that's the good part about any like new smoking thing is like you have to learn the little
nuances. Yeah.
This one is the feather technique, so yeah, go for it. And
Is there a cap or anything?
no, just it'll basically the good part about this is it's reverse.
Okay.
So you're not trying to capture any kind of thing, and you're not trying to like create more heat because what happens is because it's electric, it just goes full out. So it goes and it goes to a certain point and it stops.
Gotcha.
So
What's the brand of that again?
torchless nail.
Oh, okay.
Drum roll, please. Just hit it till you get it really going, and then like feather it. You gotta keep going, keep going. Now crank it. Just hold it down. Just hold it down. Down. Yeah. It's a learning technique, dude. I'm telling you. Here, let me do one. See. I will do one, and then we'll.
There you go.
There it worked.
Yeah, there we go. See, so now you know if you combine the first one or two into that last second
It's
one.
crazy because the little screen that you put the hash on is all super thin.
It's just basically super thin titanium. That's probably overdid it. That's probably the problem you had right there. A little too much. Put less on is more. So, because see now like boom. See how it still burns.
That's kind of like this thing. If you feather it 1 second too much, it'll just start kind of burning too much. So I'm like trying not to ruin the fine line that we have sitting here as well as getting a good hit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know that's the thing. You can go. This is a super terpy way to do it because you're not getting to overheat you're not overheating the nail or the dropping in the banger, and it's like really even if it's too cool, you don't get a good hit. If it's too high, because this one comes from the other way. Like the first couple hits are just, and what's also really cool about this is like right now this thing
Whoa.
is totally cool.
Okay, that's a trip. Have you seen that part of it, dude?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
it's so thin that it does like you can heat it up and then it just goes instantly cool again.
That thing's badass, dude.
So for camping or something, except for the power part, but if you have a way to like do some some
Power
sort
breaks or some shit.
of, yeah, or some angle, but the you get about 300 hits usually if you kind of like went 1, 2, 3, 4. But usually around the last 50 kind of start to go weaker. But this is a Samsung battery inside here, so it's a good battery. They built a case around that, and then this heats up super fast because it's super thin titanium. And then let me see if I can get it better. So,
I'm gonna be honest, man. That thing's pretty badass.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I've seen them before. I've just seen them like like people operate them two-handed with like the battery in one hand and But
Oh, so you're like clicking them. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
yeah, I mean it burnt to pretty good. I think it's
tasted good too, really.
Yeah, because it's super thin, so it's not like you don't get that metallic taste, and it never really touches it too much because it's just, yeah, it's pretty dope. I was figuring, because every time I see James, he's like, you gotta use it on the show, so you're not, and I'm like, yeah, I know, it's true, I probably should, but I literally had to go and like dig for everything. Last night I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going to find it. So I found it all. This is the only piece that it would fit on because it has the 18s. And I was like, oh, they're so hard to find.
That 18's, that's what I have in mind too, man, is that 18. And it's really hard to find. It's kind of annoying almost.
Yep.
Yep. We've all unanimously agreed the most annoying size.
10 millimeter and 18 millimeter
Yeah,
can
the
go
tens
away.
are a pain in the ass too because they clog up so fast, and you're just like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And they're just ridiculously tiny. But these are too big, too stupid. But particularly, and this thing, the funny part was that it just happened. This was something I got from my other friend from Medicali, which is a glass company, and my friend Charlie, who owns it, he gave it to me, and it was like one of those things where he gave it to me, and I was like, oh, I'll never use this. You know what I mean? Just kind of like by the combination of the size of the fucking thing and also the way that it hit and stuff. When you put another piece on, because it was very restrictive, trying to go back down to this. But this one is also good because it's just a straight tube. There's like nothing holding it back. So enough talk about that. But lucky, man, torchlessnail.com. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe check it out. James will tell us when he calls in at the 420. In 19 minutes, we're going to find out all about his torchless nail. How much? Where
You can get it on seedsherenow.com.
I probably can. Does it have it? There it is. Bam. Torchless nail. How much is it?
$269.
$269. See, I said $250, whatever, something like that. I'm sure we get it for $250 if you say Adam Dunn Show. Maybe even for $240.
And that comes with the battery, the titanium, all of it.
That's the whole kit except for the piece, and then you just got to find a piece to strap it on. See, that's how this whole conversation started with this. It's a strap on.
The strap on.
That was how it started. That's
It's
funny.
a strap-on piece,
That's
but
funny.
like I said, it is useful in the like windy situations because that's outdoors. This is actually more useful than a regular. I hate dab rigs outdoors because it's just always an issue. Like, oh, it's windy, can't see the fucking thing. You know, like, what color is it? Hot? Is it
Cooling
not?
off
You know?
too quick.
Yeah, it cools off real
Yeah.
quick. It drops the shit. Like, it just seems like it's like it has to be in your house with your couch and your little special table and your little everything has to be exactly like perfect, or else it's a fucking pain in the ass. So in those situations, really good, and where you have to be quiet, like on podcasts and shit, we don't want to make noises, like that kind of shit.
Understandable.
Or like it's funny when you're at like certain people's houses and it's like late at night, you're staying over. You're like, all right. They're like, okay, you need anything? You're like, no, I'm good. And then like they go upstairs and then like you start, and then they're like up in their room, like, the fuck's he doing down there?
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like in those situations, this is really good. Like,
For
you know,
sure.
those happen. Those kind of things happen. And just like if you were traveling around or something, you'd be like, it works out. But it's still a little chunky, as you notice. Like it's definitely like Back to the Future esque. I think if you did it all in copper, it'd be sick. This like so totals, then it would look like some crazy fucking.
Yeah, it's a good thing to fly with. I didn't even think about that. Like, you think...
No, because of the
No.
battery. It's terrible to fly with. Because they're like, you have any lithium-ion batteries? You're like, nah, just the one. Like, just looks like it's strap-on, bro. They're like, dude, strap-on. We got a strap-on over here. Get over here. Strap-on. It looks like, it looks definitely lit. I mean, that's the only thing. Whenever I did travel a few times with it, I was always like, it's a heating element connected to a button that it looks a little weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like. So that part of it all, I don't know. But I don't know about the flying around with heating elements and connected. Don't ever leave it connected in your bag either. That's one thing.
Oh, yeah.
Cook.
Yeah.
That's the other problem. That's the other thing that can fuck up. Like if you put it in your bag, like all connected like this. I had it once. I think James even had it once too. Where like we weren't paying it. Just like you forget, you throw it in your bag, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck is that? It's in your backpack.
Oh, damn, dude.
We'll ask James. I know I think he did something pretty bad like that. I remember doing something vaguely. You kind of vaguely remember something turning on in my bag. It can happen though, yeah. So with New Millennium, what you got going on? How was the show based? Was it kind of like 5/8 show for you guys, or was it like were you guys there as 5/8, or were you there as New Millennium, or were you there as?
No, more so just 5/8, and again, kind of just checking it out. We didn't even really represent any of the 5/8 products there. We just kind of met some associates and got some knowledge, and then again, just kind of tried to stay relevant and see who's all going to the big shows and what new products are there, and just checking it out.
Was there any like was it like a B2B or was it a open to the public all the time?
B2B.
The whole time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it was like pretty much like nobody really cares what's in the booths. They just kind of walked around and we're looking for the newest thing. And when maybe the one newest thing guy is stoked because he's like, oh my God, I'm the newest thing. And that's how those shows fucking are. They're always the same. It's like if you see the same booth from the same guys on the 50,000th time, they pretty much don't give a fuck because they're only there to meet a few of their people that they've already made sales for anyway, and maybe pick up one or two new ones if they're lucky, because that's kind of how a lot of those shows end up. It's like you get one or two. You think you get more, but you get one or two if you're lucky, and then you get. The main point is to be there and say like, "What up, dude? We exist."
Exactly.
We're not just fucking sending you bills.
Exactly. Meeting the right people, putting faces to names, letting them know that you exist. Like I said.
Yeah, and I think like when you are that new thing or when you're representing the new thing, it is noticeable because it's like winning a cup or something like that. Like you see how people are like, oh my god, it's like they're so pumped, you know what I mean? They're ready to dump more money in the next year, and then the other people are on the way out. And they're like, yeah, dude, I've been doing this for 5 years, I'm done. Like I can see the shift happening on certain shows, especially obviously the longer lasting shows, but even some of the newer shows. Or the longest lasting newer shows, I should say, which, talking 5 or 6, 7 years, you can see the shift at the way the whole thing goes after a little while, because you can saturate any market with, all the shows that go down. You're like, oh, dude, I did 6 in a year for 2 years straight.
For sure,
pretty much see the same people. You're like, oh my God. Once you start to see that, you're like, pull out. Because, if you're looking at the books and you're like, oh my God, we're spending way too much to do these things.
A lot of money. You're right. And like you're saying, the progression's been crazy. I mean, years ago you had all the Max Yield shows, and that turned into the Grow X, and then and look at that's at. I mean, it's just it changes quickly, like you're saying, and even the style of the show, who's involved, what kind of booths are there. It's all different.
Yeah, the fashion. I was working a lot in Europe and that, and too, it's the same kind of thing where it peaked out in the kind of mid 2005. So in between 2000 2005, I was kind of peaking out with some of the size of the booths and the way these guys were doing their shit, and like not in our department because we were lucky because we're a small little brand or whatever. But I'd go up to like the denim fucking guys, and they'd just be like, "Holy fuck, dude! You guys spent like $10 million on this booth combined with the shows and the things that they're doing and like the amount of people they hire and all this stuff." And it's like, you forget that their market's so big because it's like, well, yeah, just jeans. I mean, everybody there was wearing jeans at that particular moment in time. Maybe not now, but at that particular moment in time, like, everybody. And I'd be like, I don't know, I was wearing the same old crap, whatever. But everybody else would be so, when they were $200 and $300 and whatever, their margins are pretty high compared to lights, or something like that. We're like, So
Yep.
So they're battling,
Now, like you're saying, man, whether it's big snowboarder ski companies or tech companies or stuff like that, not only is there a lot of margin, a lot of it, I mean, their volumes are so much greater than anything that we're dealing with. It's insane,
Yeah, and if somebody was to look at it from the outside, they would be like, well, it's not as interesting as it sounds. It is when they think about it, like, oh, cannabis is huge, and you're like, that's shrinking as fast as it can, basically.
Exactly. Unfortunately, but true.
Well, yeah, and there's companies out there. I know this one consulting company. I can't say any names. Terrible name, though. That's all I gotta say. It's got a terrible name, and if you knew it, you know it because it sucks. It's a stupid name, but they're huge.
Okay.
And they were telling a friend of a friend of mine, because the guy called me up and he said, "Are cannabis prices gonna rise in California soon?" And I was like, well, no, I don't think so. Not rising anywhere else, that's for sure. And he's like, well, these guys are telling my friend who's going to invest $20 million into them that the prices of cannabis are about to rise because of all the new regulations and stuff, And I was like, it was going to get so tight and hard, and I was just like, I don't know. It sounds kind of, if somebody's going to give me $20 million, I'd tell them anything they want to hear too. I'd be like, sure. And they're going to fucking, definitely prices are going up. I mean, I doubt it. I mean, I think they're going to stabilize is what you're going to really find out, because they can't go too much lower. I mean, they can't be like, but at the same time, on a retail level, LA has always been expensive, for instance. Like, my friends are like telling me prices, and I'm like, what? Like, still getting 28 and, 32s and crazy prices sometimes, and it's just like, really? Like,
And that's for
wholesale,
those select fuel strains and everything, of course, they live out there.
yeah. And I mean, obviously OG everyone's got now, but it's like, for certain hazes and harder to grow and difficult,
Right.
exclusive, but still 26 is being real standard, you know what I mean? Where you're like, that's weird, because just a few hundred miles up north, they're $800, you know what I mean? So that they're, and people still sell greenhouse for indoor and all that kind of bullshit. There's still all that going on. So there's quite a margin to play with within the one state, you know what I mean? That's like a good example of, it's kind of fucked up everywhere.
Right.
But like the places that were crazy are turned normal-ish, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like places that were still 5s and 6s like a year ago, or crazy prices like that, are now 35s and 38s and 34s and 20. Slowly already going. By the time the show's over, they'll be like 28s or something. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
So the whole country's kind of doing one of these wave things,
It is. It is an interesting question, though, to think that with the opening of recreational cannabis in California, that the price of it would go up somehow.
Well, did you see how many things failed recently?
No, I didn't actually.
Okay, so there was they did a test, and it was like, I think they did they did a test recently of contest stuff. Contest stuff, there was like 80% of it's contaminated, right? Usually by average. So you're looking at 80% failure rate just on mold, you know what I mean? Not even counting anything outdoor. Indoor, pesticide and stuff like that, they did, there was 74, just like an independent thing, and it was like they wanted just to kind of check, because everybody was saying they were tested, we're tested, and they were like, oh, okay, we'll see, so they went around and got 74 different dispensaries, 62 or 3 of them failed, you know what I mean? So 11 of them or something like that made it through.
Damn.
Out of the 74 or something like that. So it was like, okay, that just shows you, imagine if that was a real test, okay, off the shelf now, because Cali's fucking hard place. It's not easy when it comes to anything. If you wanted to be in selling apples or whatever, you're going to go through a lot more regs than in Washington or in other states, because it's Cali. They're like, oh, you got to do this, this is your limit, you can't do that, runoff water. They're very tight on all that shit, because they're just known for that. That's their shit.
That's no, you're right. That's Cali. It's and that part, I guess, I haven't even really considered, is even hear how bad that was for a little bit, and how big of a surprise it was when it started happening. Everyone's getting their shit cut, and you're just like, it was kind of a surprise to us. You're right. When Cali starts doing that, there's going to be a lot of people that, between Paclobutrazol and ivermectin.
Well, that's what it was. It was all the people with russets and combination of russets and
PM.
Yeah, a lot of PM issues. Yeah, the mycobutanol was the big one. That was 85% of the.
Are you serious?
Something like that. About 85% of it was just mycobutanol.
Ugh, fuck. Nasty.
Right. So, which is Eagle 20, by the way, if anybody's not familiar with it, and that's what they're definitely using. It's funny because I found a thing of it at my place. It was in the way back in the thing, and somebody's like, "Is that Eagle 20?" It was like the oh my god, I've heard about it. And I was like, "Yeah, there it is. Hasn't been barely, it was used at one point, but it hasn't been used in a long time. It's already separate. When it starts the oil, and it was just leave it there. But in general, yeah, it was that was the fucking thing that's killed. So it's kind of it's like if we were testing for glyphosate, right, which we're not, because we would never want to do that, because that would be put people out of business that are evil, horrible people. No, we're going to test for fucking bullshit sometimes, and tell us it's really unsafe. But let's say we were testing for, so mycobutanol is kind of like that, where it breaks down so far down the chain, and it's so detectable, and it's so fucked when it gets into your mix, because the acceptable levels are 0. You know what I mean? So it's not even you don't want it to even pop off. It's not so much even how much, because that doesn't even come into play. It's just you detect it. That's it. So it is possible in a certain short term that it would spike and be artificially high for about 6 months, until everybody fucking reworked their shit and stopped. Obviously, either, and that's the thing, is it's a little bit depends on because if you're going indoors and you've been using it for fucking 6-7 years or whatever, it's like it's gonna be hard as fuck to get it to the non-detectable levels within your finished product. Really hard, because the shit's in everything. It gets in your ventilation, it gets in your everything. So it's like combo of you gotta, you almost gotta start fresh in a sense, or take out all wood and plaster. You know what I mean? Things you don't want to ever do. But
No, it's crazy, man. Like we said, the amount of them, even whether it's big ag or home ag, the amount of those chemicals being used right now is crazy.
Yeah, and the shitty part about that, and the reality is that it's bad enough that we know that those chemicals are bad in the sense of they're already being banned and stuff, but very little studies are going into the after sort of. It's kind of like when you take them on an individual basis, bad. Now let's mix them all up and see how bad levels. See if the levels of bad get any further, which they probably do.
Definitely they do.
And then smoke it and burn it, and that's like fucking a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Because it's like 3 independent, separate studies would have to be done, and then they'd all have to be cross-analyzed, because the reality is it's bad. When you take two compounds that are not necessarily normally together, but they're both have their own merits of poison and toxicity, then you put them together and you're like, okay, well, that definitely should make it more toxic. How many times have people done their fucking crazy killer cocktails that they made, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, because I always separate all my shit. Like, because I want to make sure there's no, like, I don't know, effect I can't figure out. You know what I mean? Like, they all burned up. What did you do? Oh, I put 9 different fucking things in. Well, there you go. That's probably your problem. But so I was always separately applying everything. Boom. What, is that here or there? Where is that? What's going on? The fuck? Don't they know we're doing a show? God, cops.
Yeah, there's a bunch of that last week too.
Fucking cops. And see, that's what happens here. I hear fucking. I hear that, and my brain just.
For sure, it's fuck them. But dude, you're right, man. You mix abamectin and myclobutanil and then whatever your third preference is together at ridiculous rates, and spray your plants and then consume them 8 weeks later. And I'm sure it's not the best thing for you, man. You know what I mean?
No, and I'm also from both sides of the camp, though. I'm all like, dude, we smoke so much Avid. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? If you've been in LA and you smoked weed anywhere in the 90s, you smoked Avid all day long. Because guys, my friends that were there growing that was their daily thing. You know what I mean? We hit them up like in the beginning, and then we hit them up in the middle, and then we hit them up in the end. I was like, Jesus Christ, you guys are going nuts. Well, maybe not at the end, but it definitely. Believed in it, put it that way. Every single plant from top to bottom, bottom of the stem to the top of the plant, and applied at the right rates and blah blah blah. Yeah, but it always said ornamental and all that shit. You know what I mean? So it was always like never meant to be smoked or consumed or any of that shit. So from my one side, I'm like, I got a kid. He looks pretty good. So I haven't, he had all his fingers. I'm like, But when you're in a professional situation the way it is now, you can't fucking play around. And people have been doing it because they still, especially Cali, they're still in that like shuffle zone where they can do the old shuffle, and like I go to places that don't have cameras still, and you're like, what? Like they have, we got one that goes over there, because they don't have to yet. They haven't been rigged out yet, but they will.
Right.
And they're gonna go through the growing pains that we went through.
No, for sure, man. And believe me, I'm no better. Like I was saying, I'm from Wyoming until I've made the right friends or did my own thing. I mean, the cannabis I was consuming, let's be honest, was not the best, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
420. What, now you call early? It's 4:19, bro.
Like a minute early?
Yeah, bro. God.
Well, I think I should get some applause for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can hear it. I can hear it now. Thank you.
There you go. How's that?
So that is now officially 4:20.
Bam! There you go. You're on time. Well, at least you're like made up for not even answering your phone on those other days, right? So that's good.
Yeah. That's what
100 more of those. 100 more of
now
those.
we got a schedule, so the schedule's working good. I like it.
Kinda. I mean, we literally got Cole in on the show magically because I was thinking about it. I was like, didn't we make this thing about 2 or 3 in the morning, and we were like mumbling and barely. You were typing.
Yeah,
really, you were typing in the corner.
I have to get something on paper. We have to have some sort of format.
But it said one of the guests was going to be called Sailing. Who the hell is Sailing? That's what we want to know.
I don't have a clue. That guy doesn't even exist to me. Me and MJ were trying to figure that out.
You were probably talking. I was like, yeah, dude, and then I was sailing, and you were like, sleep typing. You sleep typed it, and you're like sailing.
Yeah, that's
something.
my favorite. If I ever own a boat, I'm gonna play that song forever. That Sailing by Christopher Cross.
I will stay off your boat then for sure, because that would drive me nuts. That would literally drive me nuts.
I'll just put that shit on repeat all the time.
Oh my God. So what's going on out there in the big world?
Well, Southern Oregon is in another heat shock, so we should be hitting
post-eclipse. This is
tomorrow.
Post-eclipse heat shock?
Post-eclipse nightmare of hell. Why the hell everybody wanted to come out here and watch it? I mean, I guess it's fun and all, but yeah, that was exciting on its own.
Man, I was there for the first 3-day stretch of that. That was horrible.
You were there? Just magically for something else?
Yeah, people ran out of gas. Like, gas stations ran out of gas. It was a mess.
Oh, I bet, right? And it was taking forever to get across town or do anything or whatever. Like, you guys got
hours.
You should have at least invested 10 or 20 grand in those fucking glasses. Though you would have killed it if you ran around with your Willy Wonka fucking like afro and just selling those glasses for like $50 like on the hour when people were like, "I'll do anything. My kid needs them. He's dying over here. He's dying." I would have. That's what you should. You should have been hustling those things hard. I don't know why.
Right, but then all you guys would be pissed off at me and be like, "How come you're not selling my seeds? You're selling these fucking glasses."
Because you'd be like, you just as long as you sent us a photo with you, like, "I'm taking care of. Don't worry, I'm taking care of business." We'd be like, "All right, it's good, dude. We trust you."
Yeah, you got to unlock. He has a plan.
Yeah. So,
So
tell us about your big. Because I explained you did a 98. You're doing a $98 special, right?
Crazy! This is crazy. It's the crazy '98 sale. So all Crockett packs that were like 124 because they're 12 packs. All Ethos packs besides Snowball, Bog, Exotic, anything from Exotic that's usually 124. Everything's down to 98.88. So
98.
Crazy '98 sale.
Crazy.
I know this time of year, guys it's like we've got all the money into a crop. We've got it all. We're waiting. We're 4 or 5 weeks out from harvest, and so it's not. I don't have the abundance amount of cash laying around. At least I don't. So I figured we'd make a good sale and drop some prices.
The lean days of the end of summer. End of summer,
yeah. Where you're like, I got to make enough for my rent, but I got to make it up for my nutrients. I mean,
yeah,
I've been there. So
been there. We've all been there. It is a cycle.
It is a little bit easier.
It is a cycle. So. Well, it was like the other day. I was thinking of, how you always get those T-shirt designs, and I was like, festivals kill plants. That's my new T-shirt. Because fucking, how many people have like lost their plants because they were on festival, bro? Dude, I went to festival. Came home, my friend Eddie didn't fucking water the plants, bro. He said he was gonna water them. I heard this story like 100 times.
Sure so happened.
I wanted to make a festies or just festies, something like that. So somebody, whoever's a T-shirt guy, get on it. Make that shit. So. It was like that alt-right delete. We thought of that. Joel thought of that one, and it was like a T-shirt already. I was like, there you go. See, it's already out there, bro.
T-shirt in the fanny pack. We're fucking.
Yeah. Of course.
Yep. Everything on a fanny pack.
So besides the $98 special, what else you got going on?
Anyway, besides the crazy '98 sales, we got the Mosca's 10-year anniversary special coming up.
Didn't even know.
So by any 2 Mosca packs, you get a free special release fun-sized pack of Mosca gear. La Plata has got, by 2 packs La Plata, get 1 pack of the La Plata tester free. La Plata's also, just FYI, just came out with 2 newer strains. Got the Durangatang,
Saw that.
which is a Durango crossed with the Clementine, and then he's got the Durango Blues, which is going to be his Durango Costa Daily Blues. So both quality strains.
I'll have to get him. I'll have to get him back in the studio soon, huh? When he's in.
Yeah, he's in Cali right now though, but he'd love to get on the phone. He's got some new interesting stuff on the works. I think he's got the Durango back to an F6 now.
Uh-huh.
So that was the last release.
Sounded like you said he was in county. I was like, are you in county? I thought you said he's in county. He's in county now. They could love to talk because he's in county.
Phone calls come from Jackson County.
Exactly. I was like, of course he'd love to talk if he's in fucking county.
No, I bailed him out. He's not in county anymore.
Oh, good.
But if you're going to check a money order, get 10% off the whole order, which is pretty rad. And then, of course, $98 off for everything. I'm just scrolling through all the coastal stuff, all the citrus sap from Crockett, which got a new Crockett restock. Last week we had the source drop. So just for your listeners only, and actually in an hour from now, we've got a little surprise Canorado drop. So I've got some orgasms.
What?
Some orangegasm.
Orangegasm. Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. Florida oranges, Cheerios, and Bronco cookies will all be up. I've got a couple packs, 20 packs of each that I got from him last time I saw him at the show. All the other stuff of his is gone. Ethos also had a great drop last week. We've got all the cookies coming back in the stock this afternoon. The cookies I want and the form cut cookies, but his stuff is flying, frosted fem gear. So, and then of course the source, like I said, the mango hazes that we had Chris Cassis on last week. Sounded angry. And then I saw. Did you see the picture of him in the suit?
What's he doing? Signing on to some big corporate? He's a big corporate pig now.
I don't know, but he no longer looks like Osama.
Oh,
he did like
a suit wearing corporate pig dog.
Yeah.
No, I saw he was, but it was said join the crew or something like that. So he's joined up with Monsanto, I believe. Right? Is that what happened?
That's what I heard.
That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. I would. Might as well just say that. We might as well just say it, even though we don't know it. Let's just say it.
Start the rumor here.
Start the rumor because we know it started here on the show.
He prefers Hawthorne.
Yeah.
So if he could go by Hawthorne, he'd prefer that.
Yeah. Chris Hawthorne, is that his new name now? We've changed his name.
No,
it's officially Chris.
That's who he's working for.
Oh yeah. No, I saw another guy. We looked a little. No, I don't think it was that. I think he's just trying to step his game up a little bit. Once they see me in a suit, you know how it goes. All those bearded guys are like, I could do a suit. I didn't know that. Fuck. And they all start getting them. And now, yeah, it's happened. It's happening.
Look what you started. Look what you've done. Look what you've done.
Look what you've done. Oh, well. Anyway, we got Mosca coming on.
For next week? Next week, I just got off the phone with Chrome from Swamp Boys. They're back in the mix, and so I'll have about 100 packs of their new stuff coming out
cool.
in a couple weeks. We've got a new bog restock next week. Working on some Thunder Fudge stuff. Still working on that Fem stock from these THC. The Sage Master Select stuff's going really nicely.
It's coming together.
The ones they've been lucky enough to get them. So.
Yeah. Have you heard anything back? No.
Well, I've seen some things here and there. You know,
I've seen some. They sprouted. Put it that way. We know they sprouted, so that's good. It's always
Yep.
It's actually half the battle right there.
That
so
is.
It's like if you can get that done, then usually after that it's pretty good. But no, it's sad. It
kind of really is.
It is sad when you have bad sprouting issues because sometimes it just fucking happens. Yes, honestly, and it sucks because it's like really, and usually though it's like. Come on. Like, usually when you get them, you're like, it didn't sprout. And I go home and I'm like, dude, I just did 100 of them. I got 98 of them just sprout. You know what I mean? And some of them had 2, so maybe those were just over there. What are you doing wrong?
A lot of poor gardeners, right?
Yep. And the nice thing about us is all my sales guys, we're all bean poppers. We've all been doing it for a minute, so we've all paid $200 and waited for Attitude to send it off in an envelope, and then like 2 weeks later we hope we get mail, and 3 weeks later we actually get some mail, and then we pop them, and you get 2 that are stragglers, and you prop them up with like toothpicks, and then they fall over, and one's a mail, and you're like, fuck.
Oh yeah. By the way,
I tell somebody, and the dude's just like, "Hello, no, click."
Did you
So
did you see that I was smoking your torchless nail today? Did you notice that? Or you don't watch the show?
I did see the torchless earlier. Correct.
Yes, you did. So were you
Do you
proud?
love it now? Are you a full convert?
Not really. I'm just.
I was
for the show. I
yeah.
am for you. Just for you. No, for the show, it's awesome. And like I said, at home, I'm still going to use my fucking torch. I'm just going to do my thing, but being annoying at home. But for to not annoy people, awesome. Traveling, awesome. And in a way, for
which is why the first reason I got it for you, because I was listening to you. I always would play the podcast in my garage when I was trimming, and then in the background I would hear like. What the fuck is that?
And did you think? Yeah, but
I watched it and I'm like, oh, he's dabbing.
You were just jonesing. That was the problem. Who we got? Mosca calling in?
No, I was smoking. Surprise guest.
Yo, welcome to the show. Is that Mosca or we got somebody new?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Sounds like that's Mosca.
Does sound like Mr.
Yeah.
Does sound like him. What's going on, my friend? So we got
guys.
James is still on the line.
So guys, I'm going to go ahead.
You can stay on for a minute. You can stay on for a minute. No, stay on for a minute. Though.
Okay. All right.
Stay on for a minute. Talk about the drop together a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get that out of the way. We'll get that out of the way.
I'll let Mosca introduce all of himself to everybody.
Yeah, let's do that.
I can tell you all of the stuff that he's done for 10 years, but I'll let him do it.
No, we're going to do that in a second, but I just want to before you get off, let's just quickly do, Mosca's going to tell everybody why they need to buy the drops that he just did so that we can get that right out of the way, and then we're going to go, at the end we won't forget, so it'll be like, when we're done. We can do it. We'll do it one more time at the end, but we'll do it one more time at the end. But the idea is
it's pretty easy. I pretty much got everything that he's got released out now. It's just redropped. So we are restocked fully on everything that he has, I believe.
Good. And but these are all new feminized, and these are all the new feminized things too.
No, the new feminized stuff are also fully stocked. Yes, but they're not the new ones those ones are flying as well as the pink line.
Exactly. Okay.
But the feminized ones are the newer ones. And then before that's the pink line, and then before that was his moonshine stuff and whatnot. But yeah, we have all those. Everything he mentions or we'll talk about, we have online right now. We have all the pink line. The pink, of course, was used from Exotics Pink. I kind of was the middleman of that deal, so to say. Mosca wanted to do the right thing, and he found he had purchased 4 packs of pink from me, so I knew that he had picked up, at least 40 attempts at finding something special. And lo and behold, he came back and said he found a special male and wanted to know if Mike would let him work with it. And I called Mike, and Mike hemmed and hawed, and he said, "Oh, okay, Mosca's gonna do." So they put that out.
Well, there you go. That was an entire history by James Bean. I like that. So,
just that's verified and vetted, and that's why I did it. You can do it, and that's the way to do it. I mean, if you're going to work with somebody's gear, you call them and say, "Hey, I found something. I bought it the right way. Do you mind if I use it?" And he came out and did it that way, and Mike respected it, so it works out.
Yeah, Mike was pretty cool about it because, he said, "Oh, people just use my gear and they don't ask." He goes, "Yeah, well, that's different. He's asking, so yeah, that's cool." But and I caught up with Mike. In Michigan, we had a little talk about, what he had done with the pink and, the direction that he took with it. And I really liked the Starfighter that gave it the power. And so that's really why I identified the pink, because not only did it have the flavor, but then it also had really, really strong power. And that's what I was looking to add to some of these special mothers that I had kept, and just looking for that right strain, the right male to work with, and through vetting and really growing out seed stock, I was able to find the most resinous male I've ever worked with. On IG, there's actually pictures of this male on my in my gallery, and the things has more resin than many females that I've seen. It's just
nice.
it's incredible. It's like a 1 in 1,000.
Right. Well, I see. Yeah, that's what was Mike calling it? His little frost something? He had a name for it. Frosty balls or something. Was it? No, it wasn't. It was. He had some other one. He was like, yeah, because that's the truth. Yeah, once in a while you'll get them. I mean, because people don't most of the time let it even develop enough to get to the point of when it can have some resin. But if you let them fully develop, and also the cool part about males in general is if you have it in a situation where it's not going to fuck up your other shit and you let it just go full bore, there's a lot going on that most people never see because they never let it get to that point. So it's always just like, sometimes you get like really large, giant clusters, and sometimes you get just like huge individual pollen sacs and just very, like just ridiculous sized ones. And then you're like, oh my God, like what's that? Then you get like other ones that are like, tiny little nuggets or whatever. So it's just like, it's very telling in the way of what you're going to get. So so that was off of the Starfighter, the male?
Well, yeah, the male was Starfighter in that one, but Plushberry was the mother.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so the pink is 3/4 Starfighter, quarter Plushberry. And, turned out to be a really good, genetic male to work with, and still have them, and, still working with them, so.
I'm still flying that the pink gorilla is one of my favorites, of course, but I'm a sucker for Gorilla Glue, or the original Gorilla, as whatever the hell they're calling it now.
All right.
Oh yeah,
lawsuit.
Yeah,
you can't say glue.
That has been a sleeper, quite honestly.
Yeah.
The pink gorilla. That has got more attention than I ever expected, but it has that power, of both sides of the line, and just a really great cross with the flavors and that really immediate uplifting high.
What's the flower time on these things about?
The pink speeds up the flowering time, so. Like on a pink gorilla, it'll go 65 days, but if you want it more yield, then I would let it go a little bit longer. But I've seen like the raspberry boogie that will go 55, 58 days, and she's done.
Yeah.
I mean, just that quick.
Right.
And as you know, with, when you have these hybrids, both with the indica and the sativa sides, you will get a slightly different effect if you pull her or harvest sooner rather than later. Mm-hmm. So to me, IOs tend to, I sense more sativa if you're harvesting earlier, and more of an indica, more of a maturation of the terps. With a longer harvest period.
Yeah, and then how many? You also said these are like regular and feminized, or this is only the because I'm interested.
The pink line is
yeah.
I'm sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the pink is regular. So my classic line, what I really started off with 10 years ago, that's always been regular seeds. Only this year did I come out and release a feminized line, and that has been the fastest selling strains that I have in my armamentarium. But it's what I really liked about the legend is that the legend is one of the building blocks of today's modern OGs. When you smell like the OG Kushes, the Sour Kush, some of the Chem, East Coast, you can smell the legend in them. I mean, it is really amazing when you have them all in flower, and you smell the legend, and you go up and you put your nose right up to the other mothers. It's uncanny, the flavors in there. And
Do you know what year that thing is? Is that like 91 legend? Is that the same? Is that the same lineage?
This is it's the crinkle legend. So to differentiate it from the 91, this is really more of a Kush versus an OG, and it's what the lineage that my very close friends that were able to source this for me is they said that this is really a Pakistani, and so this is you can actually smell it, and it's really one of the building blocks to today's modern OG. And so my goal in releasing the feminized line is really to kind of strengthen those lines with reintroducing the legend to it. And the flowers that you have when they're finished are just, it's at a really super strong level, not like, it's not for the weak of heart. It's really strong weed.
Well, always, Pakistani kind of border stuff was, there was like a lot of, that's where a lot of hash got remixed and worked, so it became known, like, notoriously for rip-off hash, basically, is what it was. So it wasn't like justifying the region so much, but the actual product that was grown in that region, it was always, that was kind of like, that is literally like the kind of the epicenter of where it all started. So whenever I had stock from there that people would give me was always, like raw to the point where we grew like up in our rooftop. We grew about, I think probably between 500 and 800 plants, probably up there, just from these Afghans looking for, and pretty much ended up with males, because out of all the females that we ended up with, they were always like, they didn't have enough, like, they couldn't be worked indoors, and you had to grow indoors there. There was not really, like, they were not liking it. Maybe if you had a good outdoor situation, but in Holland, that wasn't ever. So we had like this summer to do some selection, and then we would bring them all indoors, and about 90% of them would peter out. You know what I mean? But what we did do is just kind of kept the males, because we figured, well, better to bring in something that we can't waste anything out of this. Something, I gotta get something out of these 1,000 seeds that we went through. And the males always proved to be actually really good, because that they would express whenever we give them to a guy in Cali, or we'd give them to a guy somewhere who actually could grow them out, they'd be like, holy shit, now we got something really nice. Because the guys who gave me the genetics, it was always selected from like one plant. It wasn't like random from an area. Hold on, I need the water. Can you get one sec? I gotta get a water. Talk away there, Cole.
So who am I speaking with again? I haven't got to say much during the conversation. I know the guy that made the strap-on, as it was called earlier here, the portable e-rig that hits pretty nice. Who is the other gentleman?
Me, I'm Mosca.
Okay, and obviously you're a breeder. I'm not familiar with your work. I apologize.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all good, Cole. No worries. Yeah, I've been around. This is actually my 10th year anniversary this month in September of breeding.
Is that a silver?
Cannabis.
Is that a silver 10 years? What's 10 years? Is that your silver year? I don't know.
So,
cool. We're on my 25th. We're on our 25th. We're on our 25th year starting next July. So, but congrats. 10 is an achievement. Nice. You're walking almost now. You're walking. No, it's always good.
Yeah. But Adam, how long ago was it that you and I met? We met at the greenhouse in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the year was, but maybe like early 2000s or something like that, I guess, or somewhere had to be.
Yeah, I think so. It was with one of the IC Mag.
Oh, I know exactly. So it was the one. Yeah, exactly. It was the one that they. I think we won with some hash that year or something like that. That was. I think that was around 2000 and probably 3, maybe 4, something. Kind of those years always. It's like I just have to get them in decades, and then I get kind of like the beginning or the end, and it kind of just turns into some fold over. But yeah, that was the first year what IC Mag did their cup, I guess, and it was all right. But it was one of those things where Amsterdam always has such a easy atmosphere to meet people and stuff and hang out that by the end of it all, it doesn't matter if what you go there for, you end up with some whole new like look on the city. You're like sometimes better when your shit isn't the best thing in the world. You know what I mean? You're like, well, now what are we gonna do? Fuck, okay, we'll go do something else. And there's a lot more going on. Did you come back to Amsterdam after that for any cups or anything? Or was that your?
Yeah. Actually, I used to spend a lot of time there. Not as much as you, because you live there, but I've probably been there, I don't know, a dozen times.
Oh, nice.
And, actually, I worked my first cup was a High Times cup, and it was at the Magus Genetics booth with Headed.
Oh, nice.
Remember the Warlock, and
100%.
That was really my introduction.
And that's funny too, because we used to. I would always trip out because he reminded me like of a true stoner, like in the Dutch stoner, you know what I mean? And there's such a different breed than like it's kind of like it's a recognizable thing. Like you're like, yeah, I could definitely recognize that guy likes weed. You know what I mean? Because in a way, a lot of the Dutch breeders weren't. They weren't the guys that you could tell that they like would smoke anything and it would get them high. So it was kind of hard for them to like be judges of what they're smoking or judges of what they're growing or what they're delivering. And like, so I always kind of like, I always trusted that because he was also very like simple. He only had like Warlock and maybe one other strain or something like that. And it was like
Exile.
So like Exile, exactly. So I was always like, okay, he's a real deal as far as like, if you like what he does, get his shit because it'll be what it is. Cause it's, you know what I mean? Like there was very little variables in there. It was like, you could get probably that, or you get that. He's only doing those two things. But I remember, like, I was a pretty evil bastard back in the day, like, if I was, like, at a trade show or something like that, because I had a name for everybody, you know? It didn't matter who it was. They had a new name, because I couldn't really call them by their real name, because it'd just be, like, cruising around, and he was always Weird Al Yankovic to me. Like, that's what I always said. I'd go, like, oh, yeah, Weird Al Yankovic over there. And because he looked, like, literally, like, kind of like him, and his chick also looked real similar, too. They were, like, one of those, like, yeah, they look the same, dude. Don't worry. The girls, I was bad. I was always bad at those shows, but... So I was probably making fun of your boss and maybe I was making fun of you at the time. I don't know if I did. I apologize.
Yeah, very proud.
I apologize.
I really did like about Head, like you said, when you bought his strains, you knew what you were getting.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I couldn't say that about a lot of other Dutch companies.
Yeah, Simon
definitely had integrity.
Simon was a good example of that too. He was super simple, 5 strains. Now he has maybe 6 after 25 years too. And, so those guys, I always, appreciated that. And I had somebody asking me the other day about Casey Brains, same thing, and I was just kind of like, wow, if you actually knew the guy, I don't know, not that, I mean, he was like just the nuts. The guy was like, he'd come up drunk on his motorcycle to the show, be late, set up his booth really messy. He was one of those guys, you know what I mean? It was just like, fuck. And it was like sell a bunch of crap and then just leave and like get on his bike so drunk. You'd be like, that guy's going to die tonight. There's no way that guy's making it home, And sure enough, he'd make it. Yeah, he's back at every show. He'd be like, how the fuck is that guy? How did he make it back home from the last show? Because I was nuts. Like, yeah, he was just so sloppy. I was always like, I don't know about that. I think that seems a little out there, But he had also that KC36, I think it was. And I have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a good strain. Like, that was, and that's the thing about breeders is in general, it's like you tune in on whatever they're into, you know what I mean? Like, in a certain point, like, Soma's also a good example, the Soma aroma, you know what I mean? He walked into a room and you're like, that's Soma? Like, I smell some Soma weed. Like, it's like, you can identify it after a while because he used that same G13 male on everything, pretty much. So it kind of got like so his stuff got a certain vibe, you know what I mean? It was mostly the male. That's the thing that kind of separates everybody from everybody. And so now you got this new male, which is super frosty. So that obviously imparts frost on almost everything it hits, I'm assuming, right? The new male you got?
Yep.
No, I lost you there. No, but
I understand what you're saying about Soma.
Oh, the Soma
stuff
Soma
early on.
Yeah, I mean, well, the problem is when you use the same mill on a lot of stuff, you end up with a lot of times the same sort of like, it might look different and smell even different, but sometimes at the end it tastes the same or it kind of like burns the same. Like his thing was about the way it burned. That's what I was like, because I was always like, I'm very particular about certain things, and then like I got, like his stuff always had a certain way that it burned, and that way it kind of like always had this similar smell in my head. You know what I mean? Like even though I could smell the differences, it'd be like one would be a reclining Buddha, and one would be a whatever else. But it was just like the Soma
White willow.
Yeah, white willow or something like that. And then I'd walk in the room and I'd be like, "Oh wow, man, it smells like Soma aroma around here." I'd be like, you know, it'd be like, so everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, yep, he's here." I'd be like, "Okay."
But you know, on that point, Soma really knows his hash. I remember smoking some of his bubblegum haze hash. That was just phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
just top shelf hash.
Oh yeah, no, Soma's, and he's a smoker too. That's the thing, and but he has his flavor that he likes, and that's the thing is, so certain people who are smokers end up with that because they're actually partaking in what they do. We got a caller. Oh, it's Soma. He's pissed. It's like, wow, man. Hey there, welcome to the Adam Dunn Show. Who we got?
My name is Brett.
Hey, Brett. What's happening?
Who am I speaking with?
With Adam Dunn.
Hi, Adam. I just wanted to remind you of something. 1995, I came to Amsterdam. You were in CIA.
Sure, the end of probably the last year. Huh?
Okay, and you were closed. It was a Tuesday. I don't know if this rings a bell, but I came at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You let me in. Mila pollinator you were selling at the time. You were pretty much advancing it, and you made me up some what is it called again?
Trichomes?
The hash, netter hash, or I forget what you called it.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, no, this was meter hash. You called it back then, meter.
Yeah, meter. Yeah.
And you treated me. I want you to know, of everyone that I met in Holland, better than anyone. American, Dutch, Canadian. You really were a great guy, and I followed you for the last 20-some-odd years, and you're a mensch. That's all I can say.
Yeah, thanks, man. That was pretty much what I tell people. What I tell people is like, whenever you own a business, you're kind of like, and as an American over there, I was representing America. You know what I mean? Even though I lived in Holland, I kind of had my whole little American thing going on. And so anytime an American came through, I always knew that they were a little nervous maybe about what was going on. They might have gotten, did I get the right change when I went to the last place? Because the Dutch guys are always on your ass. You know what I mean? They want to rip you off anytime they can. So I always felt like, okay, well, come on in. And then a lot of times it was like, hey, this is the first time, I'm pretty excitable, as you probably know. And then so I would like, hey, I want to share whatever I got. And I almost get more pleasure getting other people high than getting myself high sometimes, just because.
Well, okay, your partner came in. I'm going to tell you this, and don't take this funny. Your partner came in, and it was the first time I had ever seen an earring above somebody's eyelid.
Right.
You remember?
No, yeah.
And one other thing you might remember. I had just got some seeds over at the Sensi Seed Bank where the they also had the Hemp Museum. And the girl who worked there was full of tattoos. You told me was your really tight friend.
Yeah, Monica.
Yeah. It was a trip that I won't forget. But
that's funny.
Since I've seen that I'm in Northern California now, in Grass Valley.
Oh, nice.
And I want to tell you, Adam, since you've come back, I've been following you, everything that you do, and I have to say that you really are one of the greatest guys out there, and I'm not trying to just say that, but you really give a lot from yourself, more than most.
Oh, I got that $100 for you that I told you about too. Don't worry. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, in general.
Anyways,
thanks for calling in, dude.
Anyways, I don't want to take your time up, but I've been watching. I'm up to about 40 or 50 shows that you've done already, and I saw you had. I think you should have my buddy Brian on from. Vital Earth. I saw him on Bubble Man a couple of weeks ago, but he's a good guy also.
Yeah, anybody you got like that, just give us a ring anytime and drop a line and tell us what's up. And yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, anytime you want to call in too. It's funny too because that you were lucky enough to go to the CIA because that was really like a era for me and for a lot of people, and it was real short. We were only there from 93 to 95, and then we moved to our new place. And once we moved to the new place, it was cool, but it was never as cool as that spot. And
well, you were into clothing there. It was different. You were into the textile thing more in that building. Besides, whatever else you were doing.
Yeah, we still do that.
I can remember you were heavily into that.
Oh yeah, no, and it was and in '95 was literally like when we were just about to move to the new place. And when we moved to the new place, we got a little bit more professional, and that's where, of course, that's why I went down in the basement there. I was like, all right, we're getting professional. I'm going in the fucking basement. I'm going to go set my shit up down there. But at that first place, we really had it kind of because we're on the second floor, so you had to have dedication just to go through the front door.
I remember coming up the stairs. I remember the place was locked, and you let me in, and it was a few hours that I won't forget. You just hung, just you, me, your roommate, your partner came in, and you just gave like we knew each other for years and years and years.
Nice.
So I just want to tell the community out there that you're no bullshit.
Thank you, man.
Even though people know that.
Thank you, bro.
You are the shit.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much. That was great because I do tell stories about CIA all the time, but it's nice when somebody calls who actually got to
all right, Adam, remember me. My name is Brett. I'm going to check you out one day. I'm going to take a trip from Northern California
Come
over
on
to
in.
you.
Come on in.
Check you out.
We'll get you on the show. Make sure you're Friday.
What's your name?
Make sure you're
All
here
right.
Friday. All right. Thanks, bro.
Take care, buddy.
There you go. Well,
That's pretty nice, man.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Nice.
I was waiting. I was kind of trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure it out. I was going like, all right, wait a minute. This is one of my friends who's fucking around because he's like, But at the same time, I was like, no, it's real. It's real. But no, I mean, I did that plenty of times. That was the whole thing. And like I was saying before, whenever you own a business, you got to remember that. You can be like now everybody's online and they can just be like, you're an asshole, fuck you. And it's like,
asshole, dude,
it's like,
I know.
really, you shouldn't but when you're inside and you're actually in a place, you almost like, I bet everybody, there'd be a lot less fighting first of all, because people don't walk into a place and start fighting and being assholes. But, having always a brick and mortar shop, I was literally like an ambassador of weed. That's how I felt in my mind. So I was like, oh, you're here from where? Let me explain everything to you. So we, bump, go through the whole motions, explain everything. And people like that, he's in NorCal, Grass Valley. Well, the guy likes weed, right? I mean, I would assume that you wouldn't be a guy from New York, obviously, who ends up in Grass Valley, who fucking, hung out with me in Amsterdam back in 1995. You know what I mean? So he's obviously chose a path in cannabis, and a lot of those people who came to Amsterdam in those years were like Soma, for instance. He came in around 95, I believe, or something like that. Went to the Cannabis Cup, checked it all out. Went to the thing, got a bunch of seeds, came back 2 years later, started a seed company. It was like, that's how you start, for sure, in a sense. But at the same time, a lot of people came over, were there for a minute, and now run the biggest dispensary in their state. You know what I mean? So anyway, you gotta be cool. Don't want to take up all your time, Mosca. Now you're just fucking hanging on the side with James. You guys don't even get on my show. No, you are on the show.
Oscar, that pink glue you were speaking of sounded really, the feminized sounded pretty interesting, I thought.
And
Yeah, thanks.
what's the yield on? Is that like a real? Is that living up to its? I mean, in your mind, you're thinking monster. It's got to be huge, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Oh, yeah. The heavy yields of the Gorilla definitely come through.
Nice.
No doubt about it.
And that's the one you were saying is
But with
pretty popular right now.
Gorilla?
Yeah, that one's fairly popular right now, you're saying?
Yeah. Yes, it is. And the funny thing is, I didn't expect it to be as popular as it is. It's very popular in Europe, but then also domestically, it's really taken off. We see out of stocks on it quite often. So it's a good product. People really like it. Good buzz, great yields. The taste of it is really good. I've always, and Adam, you're probably like this too, is, I work with strains that I really like to smoke. So if there's something that I really, really like, then I want to work with it to really develop it into something. Because if I won't smoke it, why would I expect somebody else to smoke,
Oh, for sure, 100%. And it's like, unfortunately, there's just so much out there that people haven't tested or checked or whatever, and it's just out there, and it's going to get grown by somebody at some point, and they're going to be like, whatever. But it's so much easier when you're involved and you're like deep in it, because it's like the difference between knowing what you're even discussing or not. You know what I mean? It's like if you didn't do your homework and you copied off somebody else, and then you were told to stand in front of the fucking class and explain the shit you didn't even listen, you didn't even read. You know what I mean? It's like you'd sound like an idiot. You know what I mean? And it's kind of the same with when you grow out plants. It's kind of like it all comes out of that. You unfortunately don't get a chance to test it that easily. You have to go through 3 months of the same amount of work to grow something really good. And if you grew something really good, I mean, it's that classic, like, when you harvest and you're like, man, I wish I just grew all of that. Like, fuck, why did I grow all these other, one particular thing? Now you realize you should have just done all that. You know what I mean? And it's part of the learning curve.
Yeah.
So with your seed, with your seed production, are you doing all organic growing, or what's your technique, your personal sort of preference?
I do cocoa. And it depends if I'm doing outdoor or indoor. Like last summer, I grew outdoor and I used exclusively Green Grow. They're the biologicals out of Northern Cali, out of Windsor. Phenomenal. So easy to use, organic. It doesn't have the OMRI certification on it, but it is organic. They just want to pay the $20,000 for the certification. But one of the smartest products on the market. And what really attracted me to Green Grow when I first heard about it was, here is a fertilizer company that introduced a product that is organic. They added biochar. They added mycorrhizae. I mean, nobody else was doing that. How perfect is that? That really got me excited about it. I started using it. I never got burnt tips. Everything was lush. I mean, everything just grew so healthy, and I really believe in their product line.
And that when you say product line, you're talking about like soil, and then they gave you some extra food, or was it like a super soil where it was all in there? It was again all amended and ready to roll.
Well, I'm talking about their fertilizer.
Oh, just okay.
So
they
have. They have a veg, they have a bloom, they have the mycorrhizae, which you use at transplant.
Okay, so you added all those yourself, basically. Yeah. They don't have their own soil line too on top of that. That's all I was saying. Cool.
They do, but I didn't use their soil line, but they do have one now.
Right. Nice. And then indoors, you're kind of cocoa sort of concentrating, mostly. Yes.
Cocoa and. I add, I don't, probably not going to like this, but I use probably about 30% perlite. The chunkier, the better. But, and my nutrients, I'm sorry?
What did you say, James?
Number 4 on the perlite. Chunkier, the better. I like number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just want to get rid of Perlite Mountain faster. You're like, get rid of Perlite Mountain now. Chunkier. I need bigger chunks.
Yep. Well, I've started using the grow stones though. Both at the bottom of my buckets and then mixed in, and that recycled glass is a really good product. Yeah, I enjoy it.
There you go. See, you're doing work.
Prefacing the sponsoring.
They were sponsoring us for so long. So we told them when they stopped that we would continue to sponsor them, even though they left us. And so there you go. You have fulfilled my promise. Thank you. So since I haven't talked about them in a while,
by accident, not by design.
No, there you go. It proves it actually works. No, it's a good product line. Anything recycled, I mean, and I'm into, especially when it's intelligently done. I mean, obviously, you don't want people recycling product that just to get, as filler to make things not work or some bullshit. But when it comes to like inert things, yeah, sure, perfect. Recyclable inert things, that makes a lot of sense. Do you So you indoors with that cocoa line are you using the same working with the same nutrients, or are you working with different nutrients?
No, different newts. So indoor, I use Nova, the one part.
Mm-hmm.
I've used it for years. I've used a lot of different stuff in the past. I've used House and Garden, used a Canna. I mean, I've probably used, most things in the market. For me, the Nova is just very simple. I know it's politically not correct now because of the ties to Monsanto and everything, but, I just have... I've had really good success.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all on you, bro. Guilt is deep, right? You're like, fuck.
Hey, I hear it almost weekly from my buds. So.
Do you? Oh yeah, only someone's razzing you. Speaking of razzing you, right? There we go. We've already talked about this once, but I might as well get it on the show because then I can tell my friend, hey, look, I razzed him live on the thing, but. Your logo, all right? First, do you remember when I asked you about your logo? I was like, that is actually from Steve Marino, who's a friend of mine. Like that is literally the logo of the company that he works for, which is Black Flies, and you're in California too. They're in Huntington Beach, so I was like, you guys are like pretty damn close. Were you aware of that, or is that like by design, or is that just sort of like you didn't realize that they were right down the road? That's kind of what I was wondering.
I know. I totally know it, and you and I both know Mo.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so Mo, Mo told you.
Yeah, so he's a great guy. Mm-hmm. He's totally cool with me using his logo. Mm-hmm. I've known him for a long time.
Oh, good.
Great guy. He's grown out. His friends have grown out my seeds, and we just have kind of a mutual agreement. It's cool for me to use it, and no,
okay, that's good. That's good.
That's really where it started.
Exactly. No, it's good because it's one of those
every day,
right? Well, it's like one of those things where it's a very like I wore so much of the fucking literally. If you saw me anywhere between probably 1994 or 5 and 2007, I still have some stuff, but around 2005. That's all I wore because I'd wear either my own stuff or his shit because I'd come into LA and get glasses and fucking tons of T-shirts from them and just come back. And so that logo was kind of ingrained into my brain, you know what I mean? So when I first saw it, I was like, holy shit, dude. And this is a couple years ago. And then, so I didn't, and I remember kind of getting the story halfway so that I still didn't get it. You know what I mean? I was still kind of and so until I actually asked you, until I figured it out. But even then I kind of think I forgot. I was like, no, I'm going to ask him about the thing because I think I totally forgot. But yeah, Mo, those guys, they pretty much ran that place for a while, for those years. They were actually some of the most entertaining people that would come through, because that's the bad thing about Amsterdam was always timing. It was it's December, then for sure those guys are showing up, because they would roll in every year around the same time and just go completely nuts, you know what I mean? So they're fun people, but it's good to see that their line is actually coming back now too, because it kind of died for about 5, 6, 8 years. I
usually get a couple shipments from them of their glasses, because they've got the coolest shades out there.
Sure.
And,
well, yeah, and you get
that's all I wear. I will not wear Oakley.
Right. Well, you got the logo. You got your logo built in. And everyone's like, "Dude, you get your own glasses?" And I was like, "No, kinda."
People do ask me that.
Oh, I bet.
I'm serious.
I bet.
Where'd you get them custom made?
Right. So, you do any kind of landrace stuff in the past, or kind of collecting any other places besides from strains that are out there here, or modern strains you could call them?
Well, when I first started, it was really a lot of skunks and Afghans. They did a lot of the Dutch strains, a lot of greenhouse, a lot of Aryan stuff. And I throughout the years have collected seeds from a lot of landrace Afghanis, But with those, I haven't really incorporated many into my lines just because when I've grown them out, they weren't exactly what I was looking for, or they weren't the right piece to the puzzle at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I still have a very deep collection of these strains, which, one day I may bring them back. And I remember, Emerald Cup on your show with Rob Clark.
Mm-hmm.
He had mentioned, landrace. We got to get back to that, because of all the watering down of the lines that we're seeing nowadays, because everyone's working with the same stuff, and we need to get back before we lose that those original strains. And I get that, and so my plan is to eventually work with those, and that's why I collect them and have collected them for years.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is not even. I mean, yes, there are land races, but I think the starting point would be when people were, people who were smoking good import were saving seeds, because if you go back to where they are, you're not really. The chances of getting the true land races are even get harder, because you'd have to test everything, because you don't know if it's been contaminated by somebody already. Whereas if it's stuff that's literally, in seed form from 1971 or 1970 or 69 or something in those ranges, and people that are still alive and remember smoking it and can give you kind of like sandalwood, and that one's a little bit spicy, and that one's, if they have that kind of recollection still, you might be able to, you'd be better off almost doing it that way than you would be going back to wherever they're from, because it's just like, that's the fuck up is that we've traveled everywhere and fucked it all up, and now it's traveling so easy. And if you go to Vietnam and you're like, yeah, I found this killer plant, this guy, who knows, a guy could have rolled through there, gave him something, and then all of a sudden it's like you're coming home with some super silver haze, and you're like, really, this is, you figure it out, and you're like, waste of time. It will happen too, so.
Well, that reminds me, last time I was in Jamaica, I was looking for the lamb's bread,
Mm-hmm.
and I talked to a cabbie. Oh yeah, I got the lamb's bread. Let's make a stop. He comes out with some skunk, and it was wet skunk, so not the lamb's bread.
Right. No, and I mean, Jamaica's a good example, a really good example, because it's one of those places that's traveled to and from so much by so many people, and so many people came back from Amsterdam with seeds, and so many people came in from Canada with seeds, or from wherever, and that place has traded back and forth so much that, and we don't even know what those original so-called legendary strains that people would think of, which even the locals, it's kind of like it goes mountain by mountain and time by time, and in Orange Hill you'll go and it'll be whatever's the hottest thing of the moment, because every cab driver is telling you the same thing. And that's literally what it comes down to. It's okay, when my friend was collecting seeds for the what we call Lambo now, we originally called Rambo, it was all Jamaica. He was there for a couple of years, maybe a year and a half, and he just figured it out. It took him he was there long enough to be cool enough to get close enough to get good stuff, and it was just he would know what the real thing was, but then it would be told to the cab drivers. They just give it some other name, and then all the cab drivers drove around and called it whatever. You know what I mean? But one was 9 Month Skunk, and one was Most Wanted, and the Most Wanted was the one that the cab drivers loved, of course, because they were that was their, oh yeah, you need the Most Wanted, man, we get you now, and that was cruised around, and he got seeds from all those, but in general that was probably a year. If it was a year later, it would have a new name, you know what I mean? It would just so they're not too loyal to keeping it original, you know what I mean? It'd be have some whatever was more hot at the moment. So and then with what's your team that helps you out? I mean, are you just kind of been doing it all on your own, or you got a couple people, or?
Yeah, no, I've got a couple longtime friends that help me out with flowering out not only some crosses, but then also some flowers, and we had a little break this year, but we're back up and running, and so we do a little bit of everything, but it seems our focus has really been more on the seeds lately, since things have really picked up, and we've had some really good success, especially with seeds here now, and
that guy.
how well the strains have done there.
That guy, yeah.
Feature now.
Yes, I know. That's why you're here.
That's now. That's why I'm here now.
Now you're here. You're here now. You're right here now, and your seed guy. No, it is good. And the thing I like to see the trend. I like to see the trend now within growers, just to accept the fact that they need to kind of branch out a little bit, try different things, take risks in that sense, because everyone got so clone dependent, but also, russets, I think, are probably the easiest way to keep people from not ever wanting to accept clones again, because anybody who's done that in the last couple of years is just like stared into hell or something. You know what I mean? Just
That's
like,
the
oh
truth,
my
man.
god,
Yeah.
like
It's the worst.
it's the worst.
Or resistance to futile.
You hear it all the time.
Yeah, it's the worst, and especially when you it's the learning curve, and when you see every day, you're not sure if people are joking now, because it's like they're putting up a photo, and you're just like, all right, have you not if you're on the same fucking probiotic fucking alliance whatever thing that we're all on or whatever, and you're looking at it and you're like, those are russets. If you're on here and you don't recognize russets by now, you're fucking out of your mind, because it's like, yeah, and so it's one of those scourges of the industry, but the reality is it's also gonna separate the people who are just relying on clones all the time, like, oh, just taking clones, they're going to be out of business within 1 or 2 more cycles, because they're going to get it regardless, because someone's not going to see it. And then you got people who are doing seeds who are, the thing is there's a stumbling block in the beginning where a lot of people, where they just don't know how to select, and they get a little nervous, and they're but and you always fuck up. I mean, you always kill the thing that you should have not killed, and kept the thing because you went for the big one or whatever. You know what I mean? It's guaranteed. Let's just take it as a fucking take it as a loss. You know what I mean? But so you got do you give out a lot of? You give out a lot of testers outside of just your friends, and just kind of get some feedback that way, or?
Yeah. And what I like to do is, I don't do very many shows, but when I do shows, or I have, when James is doing the shows, I'll give out freebies with a purchase, because I want to get feedback, and that's why I like to go out and do shows. I'll probably do maybe, 3, 4, 5 shows a year, but to me, that's really valuable, because I'm able to get feedback from growers in different states. So, for example, I love seeing people growing out my strains in different climates, whether it's Colorado, Oregon, California, Michigan, Arizona, because I want to see what the nuances are, what's the differences, what are they seeing, what's the feedback, because for me as a breeder, that's invaluable. I need to hear what they're experiencing, what they like, good, bad, or ugly. I can't improve what I do if I don't get that feedback. That's so important. So, for me, I love connecting with growers, and social media really helps with that, as well as doing some of these shows.
Yeah, it's always. It's also cool when people. Literally come back with you. You'll go give it to them, and they've even gotten it down to oil or down to extract, and you're like, well, damn, that's even better than normal, because normally you get it back. It'll be flour, something like that. It'll be in a wet. You'll be it came from Florida. It's in the bottom of a thing, and it was squished, and you're like, great, But when somebody hands you like a finished oil product, and it's actually on point, and wow, it's really kind of what you expected. It's always more rewarding, almost as a breeder, like that than winning a cup or something like that, in my opinion.
Dude, this thing is nice. I like that.
Yeah.
See, he's getting the hang of it. So we're smoking James's torchless nail that he hawks on his.
I love that.
On his, you like those things? The torchless nail that he always has it, and he's always
I have
missing.
one.
You have one? Oh, good. Yeah, good. Because James is always missing a part. That's the problem. It's missing a head or something, or it's broken. Yeah, but
Oh, it always works just fine for me.
That was my second attempt at it. A little bit of a learning curve, but they're nice.
Slight learning curve. Took 2 hits to kind of get it together. Now on the third one, he's going to be a pro. It's all that. He's got to get like the halfway up and then. It's all.
I mean, how easy is it? You push a button, you know.
Well,
You don't have a torch, you know, and all that stuff.
The nice part is that like when you're doing certain oily like stuff that you just waste so much more, because when you're trying to do it with a regular one, you always end up like every time, just because you kind of have to get like, and maybe it's going to be a good one or maybe it's not. And this one seems to be, you can use less and get kind of a better hit because it's coming from the bottom instead of like wasting it and just.
It's crazy how fast it gets hot and then cools down too. Adam's all touching it early right after he hits it.
Yeah, it was dangerous. It was dangerous shit. I was like in there. I was touching it. I was doing all your tricks, James. That's why James breaks all of his. He's got really big fingers, and he just like, man, look at, I can judge it, and he breaks them.
Yep.
Yep.
It's cool.
So don't let James.
And now the new silly bongs, they're completely transportable.
Yeah, I don't like those things. Not a big fan.
I do. Yeah,
I know you do. I know you get on, and they're always like, yeah, because you don't ever want to keep those things around. That's the problem. It's like maybe cool for a show or two, and then after that, you're like, ooh.
Definitely for a weekend or something.
You're like, high school was a while ago, bro. It's a little.
Well, I just keep it in my coffin case. So I don't use it all the time. But when I go to a show, I just grab the coffin case and just everything in there.
Yeah. No, glass. I have to smoke out of glass. I mean, that's the one thing. Like, come on now. Come on now, James. Don't.
I am. The bowl is glass.
No, God. It's like I'm smoking through a dildo or something.
I'm just not using.
Terrible.
I'm just not adding butane.
Terrible.
It's something I just extracted butane from.
It's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. So
let's do a quick giveaway. I know Mosca wants to give away some packs.
Oh yeah, he was just. I could tell he was itching for that. Like, give him away. What you got?
Some free packs. So
what are you gonna do? You gonna do some crazy?
Somehow let's have either people call in or whatnot, but give me 2 of Mosca's first 4 strains.
2 of his first 4 strains. Calling in or okay. So who's on the chat? Who's checking it out? You checking it out? You checking it out?
I'm on the chat, but I'm having.
Where's Kenny Blonde?
Mine doesn't. Mine's stuck.
Mine has trouble refreshing. I have to keep going back into it.
Are you on the? So Shailene is now listening to the show from afar.
Crashing.
So she's in charge of the chat room now. So you're in charge of the chat, Shailene. Whoever has the first 2 correct. Of course, we can't tell her. She doesn't even know. So she's just gonna like be looking over there, like, what the hell are you talking about?
I don't know. I wouldn't say she wouldn't know. She's all right.
She may know. She might. You may have to text her the actual answer though, so she's like correct 100%. So she's not just. So there you go, James. Your job is to actually type out all the names, send it to Shailene. Shailene's in charge. She's watching the thing. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be like a freaking giveaway. All right, there you go.
And while you're at it,
so what are you giving away? What are you giving away? Mine won't refresh. What are you giving away?
I'm just refreshing
That's the Mosca. What's Mosca going to give away?
I don't know. The farm, right?
Why don't we do a pack of the pink gorilla?
Yes, James.
That's a good choice.
Okay. So now.
Like the pink gorilla, it is.
Don't you call in? Don't you? He's already taken.
We got a winner.
I'm on camera.
You already got a winner? You seeing it? You see the winner already? Someone's got it?
Spring Heel.
Oh, of course it's Spring Heel. This is his show. What are you talking about? He runs this thing. He runs this show. Well, he should just get a pack just because he's Spring Heel.
All right, for the second winner, we'll do another pack. For the second winner, what are the other 2?
All right, no Spring Heel Jacks allowed. So sorry, you already won. Just in case he tries.
Well, there's a really obvious one that no one's even mentioned here.
Oh, so whoever.
And that was.
Oh, don't say it. Don't say it. We can do that. It could be the winner.
Okay.
Whoever does whoever mentions the unmentioned. You have to undo the unmentioned now. The unmentioned must be mentioned.
Sci-fi.
The Old Time Moonshine came a little bit later.
You know,
I always
luckily,
thought the sci-fi was like for science fiction, but it's actually not.
Yeah, Tsetse Fly. But in Europe, they call it sci-fi.
And I always thought sci-fi was like, ooh, sci-fi movies. So
no, well, sci-fi.
the question was 2 of the first 4 Mosca strains.
Dun, 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 no, I thought we have all. I think 3 of them have been said, haven't they, or not? Are we missing one?
Well, the obvious one was the
No,
preservation project.
oh God! Did you just do that? You couldn't do that. Don't do it. Don't say it. Don't do it. You know,
That's all I'm saying.
do you know how hard it is to come up with these little stupid things? No, it takes like all of us would look at each other if we had to like. Now what are we gonna do? I don't know. Think of another question. Oh no. Think of a question.
Let's see, Flower Monkey, what size shirt are you?
Oh, well, here we go. See, my thing, I'm frozen like an hour ago. I think my thing's useless.
I have to like manually refresh.
I'm in this. That's what happens when you're in the dungeon.
Because you're in the basement of hell.
The dungeon. It's the DU double engine right down here, buddy. It's the dungeon.
Oh, so we could. I guess we could announce that main sponsor stuff we got going on.
What's going down?
For the old Emerald Cup.
Oh, right. The Seeds here now.
The
main sponsor.
of
Emerald Cup.
Emerald Cup.
Oh my God! No. 15 booths, 17 booths. How many booths?
Yeah, I get 2 golf carts.
Oh yeah, that's the best part right there. 2 golf carts? Fuck yeah. So one of them's got my beard all over it. We'll do the beard cart. We'll make a beard cart and
on
Seeds.
site. So 15 of my guys
Right.
plus are going to be there. So it's a way to get
go.
there. There's also we're trying to make this work, trying to figure out a way to do it, but we're probably going to do an auction possibly each night with select packs from the breeder. And so you get a classic pack from his refrigerator auctioned off at the show from him, signed and everything. So it doesn't get much better than that for some people. So we got that probably going too, which is going to be pretty cool. So.
Sounds good. No, all I heard is 2 golf carts. My brain just froze. I was like, yes, this is going to be the best. Because you don't get one golf cart, it's cool, but 2 golf carts, that's fucking mayhem, dude. That's like, because then you're following each other. You're causing fucking, I'm going to go over here and cause some shit, and you go that way and break through the thing, and that kind of shit going down. It's going to be great. So one of them, all right, I'm already claiming one of the carts. Already, like, mine, it'll be mine, mine.
only if it gets dressed up. It needs to be cardboard, but you have to.
No, I'm going to make sure I have a driver. I won't be me driving. They'll be have designated driver. I'll be like KTI will be our designated driver. It's all he'll do is drive the cart because I know he's a perfect cart guy. Can't get mad at him. He's impossible to get mad at.
What do you ask these things?
He'll do anything we say. That's all we want. Yeah, he'll innocently do anything we say, and nobody can get mad at him. So that's perfect.
Do you remember last year's Emerald Cup? They're not letting us drive anything again. No.
We got a guest from the chat room.
We lost Mitch to the other side last year.
What do we got? What's going on?
No, a guest.
Oh, we have a guest.
Yeah.
Guest. Here we have a guest from the chat room.
So from Matteo, he says Indiana bubblegum and old time moonshine.
What do we hear?
Well, that's close. Half right.
Up there.
Can't get
Old Time Moonshine came later.
You're right. Well, there you go. That's half right then, and that is not right. It's 100% not right.
Oh, that one is your bestie?
What?
One is your best friend there?
Who's that?
The golf cart guy.
Oh, always. Golf cart guys are always my best friends. Anybody with golf carts, my buddies. It's pretty much the way it goes. Yeah.
All right. I'm Mosca. So why don't we just give it to him, Mosca? Let him tell him.
Come on, don't do it. You guys, nobody knows. This was internet age. People should have already had this answer 12 times around and printed and turned into a business card. Like, here you go, bro.
Do a quick search.
God, come on, people. Anyway, no, we can talk about. We'll talk about others. We'll talk about other stuff, and if they guess right, we'll give it to them. But so.
Well, Ron Bergman has 1 right. So.
Okay, 1 right. Is that what we're looking for? No, we're looking for 2. So, aren't we? I don't know. It's taking so long. It's like a raffle, bro. Raffles are the worst. Raffles kill parties. You know that, right? Like, you go, all right, it's raffle time, and then everyone's just like, you might as well go home. Unless you bought a raffle ticket like an idiot, then you have to sit there and listen to every single raffle until the last one, and then you're like, so anyway, that's my 2 cents on party raffles. Forget about it.
I buy those tickets.
Oh yeah, but you're that guy. I know. And then you walk home with you got like a big 99-foot long strip of tickets that you bought and didn't win nothing. That's the worst. You buy one. If you buy one, that's cool. When you have like a whole strip and you're trying to like listen to the guy, oh, I got one through this, and I'm trying. It's a nightmare. So, any other? Are we doing any Hawaii trips coming up, James? What's going on? When's the Hawaii? How come we haven't gone to Hawaii? That's what I'm wondering. Same. I'm sure Mosca's wondering the same thing. How come we're not going to Hawaii more often? What the hell?
Is that springtime or is that fall?
I hated Hawaii. I didn't see the ocean once. I didn't see the beach once.
I think Mosca would like to go there. I think he would like to go there too. I have a feeling. Since he's
Yeah. No.
We got another guess here.
Oh, another guess. We have another guess, guys. Here we go.
So Matty O is guessing Indiana Bubblegum and McFly.
Well,
3/4 right? Is he 3/4 right? Is he 3/4 right?
Okay, and we have another guess too.
3/4 because it's actually half of the name.
Okay, here we go. Another guess. We have another last guess, probably. Hopefully this is correct, because I'm glad you guys came up with something complicated, though. Usually we just...
So, before that one?
Yeah, after that.
Oh, after that. Okay, so this one is from Caddy 420. It's Indiana Bubblegum and Ripple.
Well, Ripple is it's a little bit later, so no, not quite.
Nope. Okay. Well, you're very elusive, at least.
I'm not sure if this is a guess.
Mine's
but
the easiest.
C4 and Cindy 99.
Yeah,
I think that's a
the
cross.
The C4 was from Camaro. But yeah, that's one of the original ones. Heat C.
So that is one of the originals? That is one of the original. And we're looking for what?
Yeah.
2 now? So is that a winner? Is that,
one more.
Oh, one more, bro. How do we win now if one person's getting in, one person's I don't get it. It's complicated. See, that's how these contests all go. They're all complicated now. Got to give 9 packs away because we didn't make our contest make any sense.
Oh, there's Boo.
Yeah.
Boo is right on the one that we've all been looking for, the C99.
Oh.
Yeah, Boo's got it. Boo's your winner.
Boo's your winner. Boo's your winner. Boo's
Yeah.
your winner. Boo. Yeah, bougie boy. There we go. Boom. Bougie boy.
So explain to us.
Little Yachty won. Little Yachty called in. He won. All right. Well, that's a good. Finally, Jesus Christ! They're not supposed to go that long. They're supposed to be like 2, 3. Spring Hill Jack, of course, already knew all those answers, and he just was held back because he couldn't.
Happy man.
Could not win. He was like, "God damn it! I knew this."
That's awesome.
Yeah, Spring Hill Jack was all over it. He knew right away. I was like, damn.
Of course he knew. Of course he knew.
Shout out to the chat gang. It's fun playing with those guys. Thanks for tuning in every weekend.
Every day, if you want, do it. I don't care. I won't be live.
Every day, every weekend.
Well, I did have one friend of mine who was the new listener who travels a lot. So while he's traveling, he's been listening to the show nonstop. And so I was like, it's kind of like half going like
on podcast.
Well, yeah, it's kind of funny if you think about it. Just like somebody who's like driving 10 hours straight and just nonstop every day, kind of driving all around, just delivering shit and driving and like, oh, I love the show now because it's all I listen to, and it's just like, it must be just, I don't know. For me, it's weird, but whatever. Not like it must be better stuff than this. No, but you know what I mean. It's like I know how they're long, they're long episodes, but he's totally into it, and he's like calling my other friend and like telling him all these stories. It's hilarious. And then that guy calls me up. He's like, dude, he really loves your show. I'm like, well, there you go. Another dedicated listener.
Dude, that guy that called earlier was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Brett
that was nice.
Brett was awesome.
I was the same way, though. I mean, I was the same way. I listened to it all the time. I play when I was working in the grill. I'd play in the background and listen to them.
Sure. It's very backgroundy. We're very backgroundy. That's a good way of putting us. Good in the background. Don't actually listen. Because if you listen, you might get trapped. No, it's cool. And I like it goes quick, because sometimes people are like when they come on, they're like you tell them a 3-hour show, and then they're like, oh my god! But there's so much to jibber jabber about cannabis and bring on, and there's enough interesting characters out there, you know. So that's one of the things. When you're doing all the shows now, are you personally going to these, or you got your B team guys out there nowadays? Because that's always a sign of when seed companies are successful, then you never see the real owners anymore. They're all gone. That's why I'm always at the seeds. That's why I'm always at the shows. I'm like, Dad, here I am, not successful yet, but. Now, do you have like a B team that goes out for you, or do you have like only James pretty much is representing you? So
it's like my breeders. I don't care. I don't have a B team. It's all my guys are A teams.
Yeah, so it's all James.
One team, we all go out. So, but they're all A team members. Definitely from customer service that has to deal with.
I know you don't have to sell us on your customer service. We all know that. But no, Mosca, are you going out? Are you personally going out?
Of course, I'm going out. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking as much gear as we got to take to a show.
Stop
we got to deliver that.
James. We know you go out, James. No, I'm asking Mosca though.
You don't just ship that you don't just put that on the bag going on Greyhound. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bags of cash, dude. That's how we do it. I put them on a Greyhound. I tell you to pick up that green bag. That's how we roll. No,
sure, we'll get that.
Not quite. But no, I was just saying, were you going out personally to some of these shows? I mean, I selectively go to certain shows with James, but I know that James is doing a good job, so I don't have to be there to babysit him because I know he can handle it. He's doing good. But it is nice when
sometimes it's funny, like when you guys see Joe Petrie swing on Danny Denko.
There you go. Like, you couldn't pay money. You couldn't pay money for that. I mean, that was like
I heard about that.
You weren't there. No, you missed out, bro. I mean, that was worth literally worth the entire trip was to see that go down. Well, also I knew it because Danny said it like 10 minutes earlier. He's like, if he comes near me, I'm gonna fucking. He said the reverse. He was gonna swing on him, and then all of a sudden he got like swung on. I was like, dude, what was all that talk about swinging on him? You know, it was the classic. It was like if he comes near me.
Send me the video. I have the video of it.
Do you?
So it's
we should. Yeah, we'll send it to MTI. Why don't you send it to MTI?
JJ in the room. Give it to me.
Send it. Play it. Let's play it on the show.
Why are you spitting at me? You froze it.
Play it.
All right, well, I'll give you guys a video.
All right, well, let's do it. I could watch that over and over again. That's like one of those. It's literally like, oh my god.
I'd like to see that.
See, there you go. We'll get it. Send it over to us and let's put it up on the show. You bastard.
Yeah, James, come on.
Come on, James, get it together. Don't talk about it. Do, bro.
No problem. Next week we'll do that. And along with that, do you want to have my next week's guest announced, or do you want to do that?
Sure. I mean, I got yeah. Well, you got. I have a guest too, also coming in. So, let me see. So let me see who it is. I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure out who the hell it is. Who the hell is? Who the hell?
Well, my guy.
You tell me. You know who yours is. Oh yeah, here's mine. Mine's it's a journalist named Amanda Chicago Lewis, and she wrote an article about strain names, and I was like, it was a GQ article, so it was kind of like, you know, mainstream. And then she actually contacted us, so I met her at a show, I think in Vegas. So she wanted to be on the show, and so when she put this article out now, I decided I'd get her on the show a couple weeks ago. So I'm gonna she had Phylos on there too, so it was kind of one of those things where it was all very, very very synergistic with what we're talking about. So I'm going to have her on with somebody. I don't think it'll be Mowgli because I think he'll be on the road, but we'll have somebody from Phylos on there to kind of confer. And it was basically about the fact that big companies are coming for our names to next, you know, and that's kind of like what we all fear, right, James? They're coming for us. They're stealing our names. Stealing my names. My jobs, my names.
Well, they're already going after.
They're taking my jobs.
They're already going after nutrients. They're already going after lights. We're next. I mean, you see the writing on the wall.
The writing is on the wall. You're right. I mean, it's you. I saw you posted that today, or yesterday, or one of these days close around here, right?
Yeah.
And the reality,
yeah.
and the reality is that it's like, you know, again, like we're we think we're a strong industry, but the reality is we're still pretty fragmented, and we're still pretty small compared to like, you know, big pharma and big ag and all these kind of people. But
we're still there's still pieces of the community that's becoming an industry, but the community still is there if you look hard enough. But it's because we've been shunned and they're like, don't tell anybody you do anything for so long that it's hard for them to now like unite against something. So it's like, wait a minute, you do that too? Shit. All right. Well, let's get together then. You know.
Right.
You didn't tell anybody that your garage was full of tin lights and you grow up. You know what I mean?
Don't do that. So, got Rev P just rolled in because we're.
Sorry, I'm late, folks.
It's all right. Don't worry about it. We didn't.
Traffic is rough.
We don't ever announce anybody till they're here anyway. Just in case they don't show up, we'll be like, oh, that guy. Who's that guy?
Can we lower this pot a little bit?
What, your headgear? And so
yeah,
he's gonna figure
like
it. Super loud?
Yeah.
Super loud? You don't want to hear me that loud, that's for sure.
No, you're fine. It's just my voice sounds like it's echoing.
Oh, yeah, well, that's because you got one of those voices. That's the problem.
Yeah, I do. I have one of those
you
loud
smoke
voices.
cigarettes. You smoked cigarettes as a kid or something stupid.
I still smoke cigarettes.
Oh, then yeah, that's it. There you go.
And I do a lot of dabs.
Well, that's great. So, Rev P's here because we're doing an art show together here in a few weeks. We're going to talk about it in a sec. I still got Mosca on the line. I got James on the line. From
I'm out of here.
All right, James, you're out of here. You're out. You're out. All right, it's cool.
Mosca, thank you.
Nice.
Congrats on 10 years.
Thank you.
Website, everybody, 98. I'll see you guys all next
98
week.
special. Awesome. Take care, Ren.
Cheers.
Right. See ya.
And it's funny because every time.
Hey, Adam, I'm gonna boogie too.
Okay, that's cool. That's good to get you on the line. And then, like I said, we'll hopefully cross paths at some shows soon, hang out, and I'll be out of that side soon, so I'll give you a heads up if I'm out there, and maybe we'll give Mo a call and go hang out and have lunch together.
Yeah. And hey, Adam, just wanted to mention, really appreciate everything you're doing for the community and having this show where you're really digging down deep to help people understand where we've been, where we're at, where we're going as a community, and that's just great stuff you're doing. So,
sure, thanks, man.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. No, like I said, it's easy. It's easy just to do what you do, and that's what I guess you've been doing for a while now. And congrats on the 10-year anniversary, also. And I'll tell everybody to keep an eye out for your gear because that pink gorilla sounds pretty fire, and also some of the mainstays for sure.
Yes, it did.
All right, take care, man.
Okay, cheers.
All right, peace. So here, Rev, you can have an electric bong here, bro.
Does that work?
Has he done one yet?
No, I have not.
So basically, you hold this one down, you kind of get it cooking, then you let off for a second, and then you crank it on again. And that'll give you a good, because you kind of need to double. You kind of double down on it, and it's like one's not enough. So hit it till it you'll see it kind of cool down. Then hit it again, and kind of keep going, hit it, and don't stop. Jesus.
The guy that was just on the show was the creator of it, man.
No, he wasn't.
Really?
He's a reseller. He was a reseller. He could not create it. James.
Wow, that's nice.
It actually is great. Once you get, and you got there's a little learning curve, bro.
Right. Well,
you have to learn.
As with anything,
we're
all still learning about this.
You're private first class on this one. You're not where you've got one stripe. Maybe we have to do it double. We have to take it apart 50 times, put it back together, and take a hit every time. So Rev's here, like I said, because we're going to do a show with Trog, and you've been working with Trog for a few years now, right?
Or
years?
For 2 years, actually. It works out to be 2 years because 2 years ago in April, we were going to do his first ever art exhibition. Which
in America,
in the United States,
yeah.
He had never shown his his art anywhere in the United States.
Can you pull up Trogness there?
And so we brought him over. We had it, but it was April 17th, and as you remember, we had a great blizzard.
That was the year I did the Carnival, which was a cool thing, but a big fucking pain in the ass for me.
It turned into really a disaster. We didn't cancel. everybody that he was supposed to meet that came in to actually meet him, that he had business, they got to meet. He got interviewed by Churlo Green, which in turn got him noticed by Snoop Dogg. Well, Snoop Dogg was going to bring him back over to do when Snoop opened up his TV station. He was going to have Trog there, and they were going to do a live draw, all this great stuff. Well, a little on the way to Snoop's event, he come into customs, and they put him in a little room. Go ahead.
And no, this is just because he was from Australia, pretty much.
Well, he was. Yeah, kind of, I guess. But what happened? It was kind of funny.
What happened was,
yeah. Well, we're the only federally recognized cannabis sacrament church in the country, so obviously he was our guest because we had to fill out all the paperwork, all of everything. Well, what they told him is because he was a guest of the United States, on the way out they asked him, "Did you use cannabis while you were in Colorado?" And, of course, him believing it was legal, he said, "Yeah, I tried it." Well, when he come back in, they told him, they kept him in a room for like 6 hours. And then they told him, because you used cannabis while you were a guest of the United States, you're no longer welcome. So
For how many years?
We don't know yet. We're in the process of getting lawyers and working our end. But, yeah, it was a minimum of a year, obviously. Because he didn't even want to bother with it.
Well, a year for sure, but I mean, was it like not 10 years or something stupid?
Yeah, it was probably extensive, which is obviously any ban would be stupid because he was a guest of our church. And it wouldn't have been real polite for you to be our guest and still not use and pray with us. And this is a form of our prayers.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely the church. It's kind of like like everybody. Like I was CIA back in the day, and everybody. When you pick a name that's really like a name, or you are doing something that is actually like something that they can just see like on print, and it's fucking like you're already. It's hard.
We don't hide anything.
It's hard. Yeah, you're not hiding at all. That's what I'm saying. You're not hiding anything, and then it gives them a lot to pick apart, and kind of like, cannabis, anything with the word cannabis, you're fucked.
And therein lies the name of our. Your and I next art exhibition, Banned in America, and it's Merika, because it's a farce for them to considering what he does for a living. His reputation should scream cannabis. He's been to the Washington Hemp Fest. Obviously, he smoked there. He's been to L.A. Obviously, he smoked while he was at those events. Never once questioned. Now, because he was here as a guest of Green Faith, he got questioned. Well, we're going to make a mockery out of them and still exhibit his art and hope people get the enjoyment out of the art as much as I do because
so the art that's going to be on display is originals, or is it actually?
They're going to be they're number one prints.
Number one prints, okay.
And technically, the 50 collection that we have here in Colorado is the largest cannabis event poster art collection in the world.
Okay.
Now, and the reason that is because no one's ever been to all of these events to collect all of these posters, much less have the prints. And also, and when it's all said and done. These prints could possibly make it into the World Book of Records if we want to choose to get recognized because it is that extensive of a collection.
Well, and he's going to have prints available of some of them, or
sure, we'll have posters available, prints available. What we do is we pre-order prints, and when Trog does the prints, he actually it's an autographed print.
Right.
That way, what we do is we order it directly from Australia. As long as the client wants to leave a deposit, we get a mailing address so that they could pick it up at the studio. And, that's kind of what he does. And plus, we're going to have other swag or merchandise, if you will. Obviously, as you can see, I'm wearing
his stuff. I mean, the thing is, his stuff's always, if you like, Freak Brothers, or you're into like that kind of
Rat
style.
Rod. Yeah, Rat Fink. I'm sorry.
Rat Fink and Big Daddy Roth and the Rat Fink style stuff. Yeah, for sure. And you know, what's interesting too is that, like, you know, he's you said he's doing a coloring book and he's got some crazy sales coming off of that, like just numbers of people.
The numbers on his first one, I can't give you the numbers, but it's 1 million plus.
Yeah,
I won't go public exactly with the numbers, but it's 1 million plus adult coloring book. And now
were you saying it was a year of the coloring book, year of the adult coloring book?
2016.
And officially, or just because of him making?
I don't know. It's just kind of when the craze took off.
Right. Okay. So
and you notice every adult and their brother. It's kind of like the same time the fidget spinners took off.
Right.
I don't, you know.
It's nuts, man. That's insane how fast that thing took off.
Oh yeah, it took off about the same time, and everybody.
Same fly is always here. There's like one fly that loves the show.
It's that CIA fly.
He loves the show. He's like, hey, I'm back.
That droid fly.
Oh yeah, he's always on my mic and shit. I'm like, you fucking kidding me right now? He's like, you want to hit it, but you can't hit the mic.
That's it.
Yeah, he's on you. He's on you.
Yeah, he's heading over
don't zip, zip. My shows are like all karate and shit. Trying to fight the fly. One fly. Literally, he just fucked my
But
whole
as
show.
you can see, he's got some amazing pieces. The color, if you like color art, colorful art, they're very incredible.
Yeah, no, and then like I said, super recognizable, and it's funny because I tell people, there it is, boom, it's the one. Right
there it is.
There it is.
Band in America.
You can leave that up.
We hope
if you
to
want.
see everyone out to enjoy the art. That's what we've got it over here for everybody to see what he does, to appreciate it, because I mean it takes a special kind to appreciate that kind of art.
That one's way nice, dude. Honestly, that one's cool.
He did that especially for us. I mean, I give him the idea of Band in America, but he was going to do a play on America and being banned. I put it into words for him better.
Right.
And then he did that stamp over his name. So, I mean, that's his art. When I ask him to do anything like for our events, I just tell him, here's some ideas, do Trog. It's so much easier that way than to restrict an artist.
Right.
I want it exactly like this. Then you're stifling that artist. And Trog has his own style. I mean, you can see, if you see one Trog, most people don't know his name. But when they see his artwork, they, oh yeah, I've seen that, or I've seen one like that, or
I did that today.
Yeah. It's all very similar, right? But
yeah, well, it follows a theme.
Right.
It's all the colors. He has certain eyeball characters that is always usually in the piece.
That one's tight. He's all holding the sack.
Yeah, of course. You know, and he's holding the doobie on the other end, like, yeah. And you notice he put the hashtag, like, number. I got the number right here. Yeah. He put a lot of thought in that. And, you know, it took him very little while, didn't it? And I got a hold of him one evening. I spoke with Adam at our pre-party for Bongathon. And Adam said, yeah, we can do this art exhibition. And I called him that night, and within a day and a half, he had a rendering of what you see there.
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
Well, he's the type of guy that when he gets focused, it comes easy to him.
Right.
And I hate to, you know, simplify it like that, but what he does, when he gets into it, he can put out a lot of work in a small amount of time because he just gets into what he does. And in the basic outline, like he'll get the outline of the van or the whatever vehicle, and then he'll, you know, the coloring in later on is easy. It's drawing the piece out from in here, in the mind. And I would never want to walk a day in his mind because you see some of the artwork that he pulls off. It's like, dude, really?
Right.
You know, what made you think of that? Oh, I was just doodling or drawing. Yeah, he says drawing. He says, I was just drawing.
That's what's crazy about it. Some of them just do it, just freestyle, just kind of do shit like that. You're just like, what the hell, dude?
Well, you know the thing is, his style, though, is really like an extension of that sort of 70s magazine.
Yeah, he had a
style.
great influence by Rat Fink and like the Rolling Stones, the artist, the guy that created the lips and the tongue.
Okay.
I mean, those guys were his influences. And then, you know, he just carried it through. He didn't go to college. He He disappointed his mom real bad. That's one thing he tells. He goes, that's one thing I did was disappoint my mom because I never went to school. But, you know, it paid off, thankfully. And that's what he does, is he draws. He goes around the world and draws pictures. And
That's all. I mean, if you're an artist, you know that's all, and you can live off of it in any way, shape, or form. It's always good. But if you sell 1 million of anything, you got to be making some money, no matter what.
Bottom line
if you're
is-
making 10 cents each,
Yeah.
He's got
it's
his-
got to be making more than that.
He's got his niche, and that's what he's found.
Mm-hmm.
He's found his audience. When I started doing the smelly clothing over here, because nobody could get it unless they ordered it through the website, it was like 3 weeks. We put it in one store. All of the we put it in one store, and all of the merchandise sold out.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting on a new shipment of merchandise to come in to replenish that store. That's how popular his stuff is.
Yeah, no, it'll be a good show, and I love the fact that it's accessible art. You know, that's kind of the thing, because it's prints. Obviously, I mean, as a gallery, when you have like, it's same with glass. You know, you have like $20,000 piece. You're not, you know, maybe you'll find a guy. I doubt it, but if you have
Sure.
$400 to $700 pieces, yeah, you'll find people because it's actually functional and it's art and it's something you can actually kind of put your hand like, okay, I can put $700 down on that.
There ain't a piece that he puts out that you wouldn't want to put in your man cave if you were a stoner.
Right.
I mean, it's just that, it's like, oh, and all your guests will come in and go, who is that guy? I've seen that artwork before, but who is he? Because it's his name that's not known.
Yeah, well, it was somebody that I told, and they were like all excited he was going to be there, and I was like, no, that's the whole name of the show. I was trying to explain him the whole concept of the name.
That's
of the
unfortunate.
Show.
And believe me, folks, we are working diligently to get him allowed back in the country because it makes the art exhibitions more important. With him there signing autographs.
I already thought of it though. So what we're gonna do is we'll set up a thing so we can do Skype live.
Well, I just got done emailing with him because I asked him did he want to be on today. He said he can't.
Okay.
How about next week? We can do a Skype or through the telephone.
We can do we'll just do it. We'll do the show but I'm saying at the actual event.
Oh yeah.
We should do a thing so he
do
can
a
watch.
live Q&A. Well,
Not
no,
Q&A, not
because
Q&A.
he won't be available.
He can just watch.
He won't be available. He'll be doing the coloring book. He's going black.
Oh, okay.
He completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's going black. Well, you know what happens then, Shailene, right? When you go black. Never mind. Never mind. I was trying to
go back.
I was trying to bring you back into the discussion, but never mind.
But yeah, he's going dark. The studio completely and everything. No communication, so he can focus on doing this next coloring book. 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then he'll be back.
But if we can get him on next week for a little bit, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I promise I'll leave Colorado Springs sooner.
Yeah.
But there was a wreck, and then Taste of Colorado happened.
It depends. If you have to be here, and if not, just call in too. So
oh well, okay.
I
can hook up with you guys with a Skype, and then I can call in.
Yeah, we can just all call in, and you don't have to drive up if you don't have to drive up. So
no, I got
but
things
it's cool.
I got to do.
I'm sure today
anyway,
it's fine, but I'm saying just in general, definitely get him on though, because I'd love to talk to him and pick his brain a little bit, because it's like the thing about stoners in general is I always thought I really like pretty much. Like 15 going on, 40 going on 15 or so. That's about average. I mean, you're like probably right on the same.
I'm 52.
Yeah, you're 50 going on 16. So it's like 1 year increments.
Give me 18 anyway.
Stoners go by increments of 14, 15, 16.
Right, man.
And by 17, you're in your 70s. You know what I mean? So you're kind of like, when you actually get to the 18, you're like, now it's time to think about, maybe it's time to think about
Well, I finally cut my hair, if you
notice.
notice.
You might want to change your bong water or something like that.
If you notice, I finally cut my hair. I don't have the long hair anymore.
Yeah, well,
we
all get growed up one day.
It was for a good reason and for a good cause. This little girl, my Sawyer, down in Colorado Springs, she's got cancer.
All right.
And they were raising money for them to get into a better place because the apartment they were living in had mold in it, but it was what they could get into when they moved here to get her help.
Right.
Well,
was it a former grow room or not?
I don't know. They don't know, unfortunately.
Right.
But the landlords wasn't going to do anything,
right.
and my wasn't going to get any healthier living in that environment.
No,
So
not at all.
they raised money, and a few of us got together, and they decided it was $250 each person that got their hair cut, and there was 7 of us that got our hair cut. So, and they reached the goal on each haircut before they, went ahead and cut it. They sold each haircut.
Sold.
So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was nice to be able to do that because hair grows. It don't cost me nothing. In fact, sometimes it's a pain in the butt. So if I can do that, then I'm more than happy to. That's kind of what I do. Why I do what I do.
That's what I do. I get my hair cut.
No, I mean, kind of why, we do what we do at Green Faith.
No,
and,
you guys are always
we
giving.
do.
You guys are always giving. We know that.
Because in the end,
getting shafted.
We are all we got. We're all one race, human. And when we start recognizing that and realizing the corporations and the government are not necessarily our friends, and looking out for our neighbors more, maybe we won't have. I was thoroughly impressed with what happened down in Houston with everybody, the outpouring. It actually stopped this racial divide, if you will, that's been going on in the country.
No, it's going to be a lot of months and years in some areas, months in some areas, weeks in some. Whatever.
I moved out here from Joplin, so I experienced that tornado, so I know about disaster and rebuilding, but nothing obviously like Houston.
So it's going to be a long recovery, but it is definitely bonding in a lot of ways. But it's also getting crazy too. There's people looting. It's already going down. You know what I mean? There's already okay, now we're cool for 5 days, but all of a sudden,
I believe those kind of things, these kind of things, it brings out the worst in people more than it brings you, but it also brings out the best. You see people. Going across racial lines, financial lines, doesn't matter. We're going to go help those people.
Yeah.
So there's that looting thing and that threat, but it just these kind of events always bring out the worst in people.
Right. Well, they do, and they're. I mean, it's crazy because it's never, definitely not out of the woods yet as far as results. The next couple of days, everything's moving. And
the water's still receding, so they don't even know the dead count yet because they went in there. So
I know. I'm expecting already higher numbers. I'm ooh, 29. That's a lot of
good
right out of the gate. Usually right out of the gate, like 6
people.
or 7, maybe.
It's 29 already.
What was it before? Yesterday. So.
Yeah, it's up higher than that. I read this morning that it's higher than that number.
Yeah. Damn, that sucks. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those ones where there's a lot of, because you got to think those videos. When I saw the thing with the elderly people up to their thing,
man,
are you freaking kidding me?
And the sad part about it is they kept trying to say that's fake.
Yeah.
And no, old people resign themselves to their situation. That's why there was nothing they could do.
Yeah.
So they just sat there and did whatever they were doing before.
Yeah.
There was no reason to get upset or freak out. I mean, when you get up to a certain age, nothing really, gets you excited.
It was weird.
Much.
It was a weird image. It was one of those I was like, that was weird. No, that was weird.
Yeah.
But no, in general, the whole situation sucks for sure. And instantly, it's already man-made things, and there's this, and there's harp. And
I've uncovered some evidence, but
I've seen some stuff where I've been oh my god, is this really going to be this could get weird? But
until I know for facts, I don't usually talk about it too much.
You can't really talk about that until everybody's in their own safe zone, and then you're
exactly.
Now it's time
once
to get
all the suffering's
crazy.
done, then we can start pointing fingers. Once we get people safe and
crazy.
Get them fed and get them dry.
Well,
One thing I'll tell everybody, if you're going to send anything down, make sure you send in a pack of socks, because dry feet is a commodity down there. So always.
Probably not bad advice.
Well, I experienced that in Joplin with the tornado. people wouldn't have shoes. They would, so you could at least put some socks on them until we could get them shoes. But, the dry feet, because of the flooding and everything, the viruses, the nasty stuff that can come onto the feet, it's really nice if they could get some, like, athlete's foot spray and some clean socks, dry socks.
Rev P. Athlete's foot spray.
Everybody wants to send water and things like that. Toothbrushes, there's probably 10 million people sending toothbrushes. Not saying there's not a need for it, but let's look at what people really need. Warm clothes, dry socks, boots, shoes. Let's think common sense. Let's think of things that they're going to definitely use instead of sending a big mess.
I was going to send them thousands and thousands of fucking pom-pom hats. They'll be like, oh, dude, great. We're fucking hot as fuck. We got pom-pom hats.
Right. Well, I saw the other day a company out of Michigan, and it's funny, I'm from Michigan. They sent them kayaks. I was like, 200 kayaks went to, relief. And I'm like, isn't it a little late? And would you really jump in a kayak and ride to go, go save people?
Well, they did. They were doing it. I mean, that's what I was tripping on. They'd be like, guys saved a bunch of people on the kayak. I was like, damn, that's pretty hard to, like, I guess they could just hang on. I guess just hang on.
But what's the percentage of people that actually kayak and are proficient in it by themselves, much less get passengers?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's probably a very small percentage.
297,000 people are registered kayak.
It's got to be a small percentage, especially down in Houston. Okay, but and what you see is they do it for a tax write-off. Yeah. They do it for a tax write-off. They're sending 200 canoes or kayaks. They're not even canoes. They're kayaks.
Send some food, send some socks, and stop with the canoes.
Yeah, let's stop with the frivolous stuff or the foo-foo stuff. Let's get them real stuff that they can use down there, folks.
All right, we got it.
Thank you.
Rev, you got it on your...
Thank you for letting me know.
That's why he's a Rev, Whenever you're a Rev,
there you go, man.
You can't stop. Feels like...
Just fitting the role, dude.
Feed the poor.
Well, no.
We try not to get too political.
Where there's a verifiable need.
It's okay. We can talk about it. But now this show is going to be forever and ever talking about something that hopefully is going to only last for, let's say, another couple months. Let's hope. But America's so fucked right now because they don't let people like Trog in that they're going to fucking feel the wrath.
Well, we'd be more than happy to have a benefit if they let him in.
I know if they let him in, I don't think this hurricane. I don't think this thing would have hit. I think it would have been.
Yeah, that's why it hit because they won't let him in.
I'm pretty sure. So fuck you guys for not letting in Trog because he was just trying to say to everybody, hey, there's going to be a big storm. You guys might want to fucking buy some art and fucking get the fuck out of here.
That is a way badass ad for one of you guys' shows that thing's clean. I like it.
Yep. So that'll be the next show coming up on the 14th, right? Is that
the art's gonna be hung the 14th. We're gonna open on the 15th.
Okay, there you go.
And then it's gonna go to like the 12th actual, but the art's gonna still hang up.
Yeah, it'll stay up for a bit, whatever. I mean,
and then we're gonna change it out eventually and do another exhibition with the other half of the.
What the hell is going on over there?
Dropping stuff.
Not even. Exploding drinks. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on.
Ooh.
So, all right, so we're going to round up the show because we're, I think, close to our 3-hour thing. But we're going to be, so definitely everybody.
Thank you all for having me, let me on.
Of course. So if you're in Denver next, in 2 weeks, is going to be the next, it's not this next Friday, but the Friday after that. And show's going to go on for about a month, but then we're going to leave some. We'll probably leave it up for a bit longer because that's just the way we are. Because we don't want to change. Because next after that is going to be a haunted house, though, so it's going to be cray around here. And of course, Trog haunted house, good entranceway. It'll be the entranceway to the haunted house. Will be the Trog show at that point. So
right on. Sounds like fun.
That'll work.
And Halloween's my birthday, so the haunted house works out really nice.
Well, there, it's all basically everyone dresses up for your birthday, so that's
right. And I come in my birthday suit. No, not really. I just don't dress up.
It's a tough
because that is my birthday.
That's
suit,
a pretty tough competition, though. If I can have your birthday on an actual Halloween, because
well, I don't have to plan a party. Everybody's partying on my birthday.
It's true.
And everybody usually has fun.
It's like New Year's. It's like New Year's.
Not a bad way to say that, man. That is true. Everyone's always partying, no matter what you're doing. They're always having fun.
Wherever I go and I say it's my birthday, they change it from a Halloween party. Hey, it's Pat's birthday party. Okay, thank you.
There you go.
You know.
You can just, exactly. That is good.
I ain't got to create an atmosphere or an event. It's already created, so.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Any other shout-outs before you go?
Nope. See us at Champs and see us here with the smelly clothing.
Champs is on the 20th through the
21st.
19th through the 21st of this month. So that's all happening in September. It's a big month. Big shout-out to my beautiful wife, Cece, who's sitting right there.
Shout out to Cece.
And little Nick, who's upstairs, dying to come down here right now, probably, or not. No, he's okay. Usually he's dying to come down, get on the mic.
Shout out to Shay for the help with the tech and then the hydration needs.
Yeah, and the floor cleaning. Very good.
Hey, Shay.
She spilled enough water. We can just wipe it up now, so it's all good. Shout out to my mom down at the farm, Tim, Murray, Andy. And, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. I think, like I said, I'm going to have GQ's journalist on talking to us about strain stuff that we already know about, but it'll be interesting to see her
We might have Trog on Skype as well.
Trog on Skype, and I think we had some other breed. Oh, we have Mean Gene coming in from the aficionado crew, kind of unofficially, I don't know how to say it, whatever, we'll figure it out. But Mean Gene will be on. He's got a new line called Freeborn Selection, is what I believe it's called. So, sounds good. So we're going to talk to him. And who the fuck knows what else is going to go down. Something's going down.
It's always a fun time on the Adam Dunn Show.
You never actually know. All right, guys. Take care. Peace.
Practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden symbols.
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensibilia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.